CT Pacific called Francis?
You're like kind of popey.
Popey?
Like Pope Francis.
Wow.
You're a little popey in the middle.
You look a little popey there, bud.
That's a good Canadian credit.
Bro's looking a little evangelical today.
A little popey, bud.
A little popey bud.
Got ourselves a full tilt here. Lumber on him.
He's good. He's good. This guy's good.
Oh
Jesus,
my God.
Murphy.
Oh my Lord.
Is there a Charlotte-ism?
There's not much of a Charlotteism, not that I know of, no.
Valorantism!
For the love of God, end this and cast the game. Lemon
I'll
Kiwi
get
and I
up.
hold shift.
I know, the height didn't change when I got up, but we're hoping that we're going to see a change of pace and tempo shift. Best of 3 elimination, Heretics versus Titans.
Yeah, and taking a look, we are going to get essentially and actually pretty much truly mirror matchups here. So different for what we kind of came to know and expect. No deadlock here for Titan Esports, which you were framing up. They're the more traditional route of the Killjoy, which I also agree on that. Vipers on both sides. You know what's going to expect with those walls. And it looks like TEC do want to take a bit of an opening aggressive push to try to get some forward pressure already through B. Got the sentry turret at mid to try to keep that honest. And yeah, T-Virus right here in the corner may get some action after that little double happens through the middle.
Okay, the practice range diff from Tech, just the 3K off mid. Okay, the Sentinel diff is insane. Abo, welcome.
Yeah, that was dirty. And for Heretics, just trying something a little bit more unorthodox. Again, speaking to their compositions, they had played Neon Gecko before with the same Killjoy Sova Viper. So again, switch ups across the board. That we actually have not seen them play KO at all this calendar year. So this is going to be, I think, an interesting spotlight to throw onto Woot, mostly on the timings of when they want to use things like the knives, how you want to execute off of things like flashes, and how deep do they want to scale. Not playing Neon, like we talked about, we often expect that type of a composition wants to get deep through Snowman at B. So have they got their prep done? Are they ready to go to kind of understand this more traditional, more orthodoxical type of setup for compositions, as Abo is just off the races here?
The less we look at him, the better he is at the game. I don't know, and it wasn't even through just watching over mid. It was through shutting down A single-handedly. So Team Heretics are really not off to a good start. What did we say about them facing teams that are peaking? Now you're facing a peaking Sentinel.
Yeah, this is the last thing you want to peek into is T-Virus with an Outlaw against just classics. He could definitely pop off and single-handedly get the job done. There's the first to connect. Follow-up is going to be shut down by Coco, and this should be a pretty comfortable anti-eco here for Titan. Keep saying talent.
You got the knife too from Tech, and Heretics are not swindled at all by that. They're able to turn this all around after Heretics got first blooded. Still that big old threat. It's a double flank. The walk up from Tech coming through spawn, and Woot has a big old challenge, or chow as you like to say, and Howdong takes care of business. Flank develops. Boo the last one, just hoping to play his life in this tower. And with the wall coming up just in time, gets to kind of isolate these angles. 1v2. Spike's going to get tapped. He's not going to peek it quite yet. Oh, almost got that finish against Lucas.
Yeah, you get a couple of repurchases out, though, going into this bonus. And, of course, you get the plant to kind of reestablish what your economy is going to look like coming into this purchase round of round 3. And for TEC, see what Titan wants to do in terms of purchasing into their bonus. Sheriff for now, full armors across the board everywhere else for the most part. But yeah, it's just that's a pretty punishing follow-up for Heretics considering the start. You're going to appreciate the idea of making this third round maybe a little bit easier for you. And we're going to get an idea pretty quickly here about what Heretics want to do from an identity standpoint with full rifles in hand.
Nice flank. Tech off to a fire start as Abo's 4-0. And he'll get to rejoice even more on how good he's been with the Sheriff. Just give him a Sheriff again. I don't know.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, the Sheriff and the Outlaw pop off. There's kind of like a cowboy theme going on here, and Titans are locked in.
What's your favorite cowboy-themed gun in Valorant?
Outlaw. It shoots twice, so if you miss, I was gonna say if you miss, it's very forgiving compared to the other stuff.
I'm more of a Marshall stan.
Ooh.
I like the Marshall. I love the days back when like people started to recognize the first time that like you didn't need to scope for the Marshall to still pack a punch in anti-ecos, and we just got like what I like to call musket warfare, where it's just That's my sound effects.
Oh, we're gonna
Like
start
that?
rap godding over here if you guys make us go crazy again. And then your Call of Duty isms of hitting a no scope, that translates down to
That translates to all kind of tech shooters though.
But you had a 360. I'm not seeing Valorant people just jump off top ropes, do a little 360, get on a Taj.
The old school MW2 days. Oh, that was 15 years ago almost.
We're old.
We're old.
Got you to admit it.
I have the luxury of admitting it. I think you get to a certain point where like you don't avoid the conversation of your age, you just kind of own it.
Can't avoid Abo either. Despite me being a hater of the deadlock, at least the solo deadlock, he was still a top fragger and kind of a huge carry when it came to that sunset. And he's 4-0 and takes a lot of kills to get the KJ ult online, but it's still huge for this map.
Yeah, that's a really good shout. I think especially considering, where the success stories were for Titan yesterday. It did come by way, of Abo and really of just the Sentinel gameplay at large, just kind of stopping and putting a pause to some of our RQs, executes and things of the nature. Obviously, again, this is a fresh look here for Titan. You already kind of mentioned it in the preamble to this setup. It's not just that they played it yesterday. They play Deadlock a lot, and it's not a stranger to really a variety of maps, which has in the past also included this icebox. So this is a fresh look for them, as we're hearing that on stage there's a couple of small audio issues, which is what we're trying to resolve at the moment. But, for Titan, you're feeling really, I think, again, just that mental freedom to know that Abo's not a new character for our maps pool here, and he's already popping off. Locking down the lanes that he needs to. Granted, it is just pistol and anti-eco, but still, that boosts a lot of confidence, I think, across the board as Titan try to move around the map, especially they rotate from site to site. Yeah,
because it's not even just Abo having a good EWC, but a good qualifier in that EVO Chinese qualifier to get here. He was a top fragger there, too, and you can't really say that about a lot of teams where your Sentinel is the one that's muscling in all these kills. And Abo was part of that early Chinese Valorant, those early Chinese Valorant days too, where he actually played with Haodong. So they have that earlier friendship from the EDG days. And, I was hoping to see more out of Haodong when we talk just about how many years he's been playing Valorant. And you got this rookie young talent coming in, and they're starting to frag too.
Yeah, just to kind of give you the numbers, I mean, a 1.4 for Abo with a 263 ACS throughout the entirety of the EVO event in Act 2. And that included him playing not just Deadlock, but also a bit of Killjoy and Cypher. So, when your Sentinel player provides that level of consistency and that level of fragability, that's an unbelievable sense of freedom to what the rest of the team wants to do. Now, that said, there's a level of, you want to see more out of, out of T-Virus. He had a 0.85 KD at EVO. Now, granted, again, as an initiator or an execute rather, you just got to get your one and get out, but or at least get your one and done. So there's a level of okay, maybe some success there in terms of his first kill percentage, but still, it's just at a certain level when you're playing against the best teams in the world, you can't just go one and done. You need to be able to use that as a chance to execute and take sites convincingly.
Yeah.
So that way, players like Abo who are fragging late in the round can get their setup done and again just establish their presence. So.
And there was excitement about T-Virus when he was part of DRG or Dragon Ranger Gaming.
Dragon Ranger.
When he was part of the kickoff with them, they got 4th, and then he moved on to Titan for stage 1, and still trying to be that pop-off duelist, and it's tough to shine against the talent that are here at EWC. And Lucas is still trying to find himself on that role where he was utilized a lot for his Tejo, his first appearance as a starter during EVO when they let go of RB, so then Lucas steps up, and Lucas just turned 18, kind of playing some IGL. That's something, integrating a new IGL is always a thing. He played many years in Challengers NA with top players, flexing from Sentinels to Initiators to Neon, literally played everything. So Lucas is so flexible, but I want to see him be the master of one thing or a couple things.
The other side of it is as especially kind of getting prepared and for this event and looking back at stage 1 in the Chinese region versus what the Chinese teams did at Toronto, and even looking back to the end of last year when they had found so much success, there's a level of a revolving door in touch or in certain ways of which Chinese teams are going to be in the top 2, top 3. And, I know you've said it a lot, this is a Titan team that finished 2nd over Wolves at EVO. And prior to that, did not have the best stage 1. So, it comes in waves, momentary flashes of, who's going to be the best team from China. Sometimes feels like it's EDG, the expectation. Other times, teams like Titan come out of nowhere and surprise you and really kind of take over the conversation. Now, we have not seen that yet, but again, it's just a best of one, and so far to the start of their map pick, it's been solid. So we'll see how consistent this Titan team is going to be throughout this map when we eventually restart it back up.
Yeah. Just talking about how Benji, you don't see a lot of esports players that can go from esport to esport and dominate the way that he has, being at the top of Europe with Heretics. What's his next esport going to be? I know like Call of Duty and Halo and those type of games sometimes have players that can be an FPS generational talent, but Benji is something else.
I feel like he's pretty happy where he is right now.
We're keeping him. We're not giving him to anybody else.
Yeah, I feel like he's got a pretty solid gig right now, if I were to imagine.
Yeah, being that young too.
Yeah, it's you know, kind of taking the conversation from the Chinese region and talking about kind of like a revolving door of who's hot, who's not at any given moment in time. The same is kind of true in certain ways for EMEA. Like right now, Fnatic, I think, is obviously dominating the conversation. There's also a level of teams like Team Liquid. It's just like, what do these guys have to do to make it to an event? Because they keep finishing one spot lower than they would need to qualify to get into a position to be a major threat again on the international stage. So it's just, what are you going to get out of the European region as we finish off the rest of this year? Is Fnatic going to be able to do what they were coming up short with at Toronto and find a way to win a championship? Not as convincing of results as I think we would have liked to have seen out of them yesterday. Definitely stretched a touch in decision-making, especially versus 100 Thieves, but still got the job done. And are they going to dominate the conversation in terms of like what Western Europe brings to the mix? KC obviously kind of down and out at this point. BBL is showing that they can fight and they can look really solid and possibly be another top team from Europe. So it's just, again, like as you kind of go region to region and evaluate where teams are, it does feel like it comes in waves, and some of that is maybe just a comparison and a direct relation to what patch we're on.
Yeah, I definitely think EU should be stoked for how EWC has been for them as a region. K-Corp having that big upset against G2, which is a different G2 than we all know and love. And BBL have already qualified into top 8. Really stoked to see if Heretics are going to come back into this game. It's only 0-2, but teams love to peak against Heretics, so that'll be exciting. And of course, Fnatic are Fnatic. They are favorites to go on. They've of course already qualified into top 8, but for this group, we're still waiting to see who's really going to get out of it. It's been kind of a toss-up. I think predictions can be sometimes thrown into the bin. What do you think? Yeah,
I mean, at the moment, all of our predictions feel like they're a little bit lost, maybe with the exception of teams like Fnatic and PaperX still obviously being very potent in the conversation right now. Like RRQ, Heretics, Titans, I don't know where you put RRQ. I think I may have had them just inside the top 8. It's tough, I think, with them having not finding a win in Toronto, but playing up against Wolves and playing up against Fnatic. Like, they didn't have any softball matches. As soon as they stop playing Waylay, it's over for the rest of the team. There could be some truth behind that. There could be some truth behind that. I don't know. It's just like Group C, especially like after day 1, it feels wide open. You know, NRG is in that honeymoon period, and they are looking solid. Like, if Brock is chatting up with offensive Odins in the international stage, like we often like kind of memed upon when he was in North America, but still finding success. So it's like, meme if you want, but he's going to do what he does. It's just like when they play with that type of confidence, they're going to be a tough team to beat for anybody. But it does feel like, looking at the results of how the groups have gone through day number 1, it feels like Group A is the weakest right now, with the exception of PaperX. Yeah. And then I would say probably Group C is the next team, the next group that's probably the second weakest, based on the fact that Heretics got beat up by NRG, having a little bit of a tough start here versus Titan and RRQ. Yeah, they looked good yesterday on Sunset, but that's just one map, and I'll be interested to see what the results are of them at NRG, you know, tomorrow. Yeah. Do you have a favorite duelist at EWC right now? I know it's only 2 days, but you just kind of started the conversation about RRQ, and Jemkin is definitely top 3 favorite. I mean, we haven't seen all the teams over at the B stream. We can only keep up with so much, but Jemkin definitely up there. Just the fact that, hey, he got a map win with the Waylay. Yeah. But then, you know, then they had the double duelist with the Waylay, and that was less hot. But Jemkin was on fire on that BO1. Yeah, he was. I mean, I think there's a level of, I'm kind of looking, Amada, I think, stands out in terms of just how NRG played yesterday. But, you know, it's kind of hard, I think, to pick one over the other. I think Levin also looked really, really good for BBL. So, yeah, I think there's, you know, duelists are probably going to be one of the, you know, player roles that we're going to spotlight a lot this weekend or this weekend. So we'll see kind of how that unfolds and if that storyline stays true.
Yeah, well, let us know who your favorite duelist is, as the podcast will not be continuing. We're going to throw it to a short break to make sure everything is good to go, and we'll see you on the other side.
was never meant to stay. It was you that put me in. Promised me that we'd be okay. All of your lies I was believing. You were there most of the time, but that was never good enough for me. Had me going out of my mind, had me going round like crazy. Why we gotta end this way? Why is there always a struggle for you to let me go? You got me like crazy. Like you were always right and I was always wrong. Crazy. Baby, where did our love go? Crazy. Like you were always right and I was always wrong. Crazy. Where did our love go? You would always bring my fall. You were meant to be here forever. Remember when we used to have it all? We were so good together. Why can't we both feel the same way? Why do I need to explain? You were there most of the time, but that was never good enough for me. Had me going out of my mind, had me going round like crazy. Why we gotta end this way? Why is there always a struggle for you to let me go? You got me like crazy. Like you were always right and I was always wrong. Crazy. Baby, where did our love go? Crazy. Like you were always right and I was always wrong. Crazy. Where did our love go? Crazy. Are you sending your care and attention? Crazy. Are you sending your care and attention? Are you sending your care and attention? Crazy. Baby, where did our love go?
We are so back between Titans and Heretics. We're getting into that first rifle round 2. I'm so excited.
Woo!
Woo! I ran over to the B room too, so I got
Yeah,
my heart
seen
rate
that.
up, and
Yeah.
we just started the game.
I love that. I'm here for it. Let's get going. Round 3, action ensues over. And how about the Sheriff play from TEC? Another one goes through, but again, the riflery a little bit too strong as Heretics are able to trade things back to a 4v3.
Yeah, Tech just not playing that far back to B, and deciding to switch things up, play forward, and punish Heretics as they were trying to use their own Viper wall and be a pivot towards A. And Abo's built different. Usually it was the Sheriff, though. This time it's with the Stinger, and he had the first blood last round, including a 3 or 4K in the pistol, so all eyes are on Abo.
Yeah, the setup is really perfect for a Stinger right here. You've got all of your utility starting with an alarm bot off to your perspective left. Nano Swarm's behind you to give you an exit. So everything is looking solid here. Knife does come through. Doesn't seem to reveal, though, onto where exactly Abo is. So is there a chance to get the Stinger into play? But no.
Beautiful
Heretics
flash.
get 2, and that should be a plant and likely the round.
Another day at the office for Heretics. being able to solve all your tech issues and then kind of shake off what happened in the first 2 rounds and using the Viper walls of the enemy against them. Okay. Good catch from Haodong. Wait, 1 versus 3. 3-in's kind of low. But it's not very winnable with where the spike is ticking at. But hey, you want to farm up the ult.
Yeah, and it's also try to force some repurchases. That's the other big news about this. Try to make this bonus feel a little bit more potent. And yeah, outside of a couple of armor tags there at the end, nothing more to be tallied in terms of the kill feed overall. But here we go.
Yeehaw! The showdown. PC versus player. It's not Heretics versus Titan. It's Tech versus the world. But hey, we get to break down that round now for...
Oh, the next foreseeable future. Wow, I'll tell you what. I mean...
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what. For Titan Esports crew, that's a heck of a way to get yourself an open first blood. I wish I could do like the Family Guy, the old guy, the whistle.
Oh,
hey there,
you need a gap. Oh, that was actually pretty good.
I can't do the whistle.
Need a gap in your teeth. Your teeth are too good. So.
Yeah, I can't do the whistle. I've got a friend who can do the whistle perfectly, and it gets me every time.
I wish I could play good Valorant. That'd be a more useful skill for me.
That's fair. It's also relatable. I think we're all in the same boat.
Where are you at? You good at? Are you any good at Valorant?
You ready for this? I'm going to expose myself live on broadcast.
Okay.
I don't play ranked.
All right, that's
I'm at an age where it's just like the stress of trying to calm to what you cast is just so high, and then you just have people rage at you. I'm just like, you know what? I'd rather just sit and watch VOD.
I only know girl math, so I also don't like playing ranked because I just buy whatever everyone else buys, and I feel like that's not the way you're supposed to play Valorant. So I just Swift play or I rock around. I try to play with Van Silly, but he sweats.
I just like I think there's just like I don't want to say like I'm an idealist, but like when you watch the best teams in the world over and over and over again, and then you go and try to do it yourself, and it's like, wow, I'm A, old, B, not good, C, very old. I would rather just sit and enjoy and watch and learn and do that.
What other hobbies do you have?
Well, I do like to cook. Big fan. That comes with the Italian side of me, I think. But
I make a mean cordon bleu. That's my
really. I haven't made cordon bleu
it's
in a long time.
a chicken with ham in it.
And
I
cheese.
don't know what. Yeah. Can't forget the cheese.
And that like creamy sauce.
Sauce. Good sauce. What's your signature?
Chick parm. Little chicky parm.
I think if we were a Valorant agent, we would throw out a chick parm because it's our signature.
It's definitely my signature for sure.
I'd love to refresh a cordon bleu.
I also like a good chicken piccata.
Okay.
Saucy. Big capers.
Oh yeah,
fan.
the Italian. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big capers fan. Underrated vegetable? Is it a vegetable? I would assume it is. It's like the cousin of an olive, so. That also feels weird to call olive a vegetable. Olives don't feel like a vegetable.
It's funny that vegetables have families.
The olive family tree.
Yeah.
This is what we talk about when we're on our 4th tech pause in the last hour.
What's your favorite vegetable, chat? Let us know.
Yeah. Okay, so we can bring the North Carolina back in. Like North Carolina, famous for their barbecue. Very different from Texas or St. Louis barbecue. But we also, like, it's a very vinegar-based sauce. We use the same, like, vinegar base for, like, coleslaw. Whoa.
Really cool.
Big coleslaw fan.
I love the lore.
You're welcome.
In Canada, our favorite dish is
poutine?
Gravy. Yeah, gravy and cheese.
Not the end of the world. I've had worse.
You thought Americans had, like, a greasy food problem. No, Canada, we love our gravy.
I'm trying to think of what is, like, my favorite dish when I go to Toronto. I kind of stay away from poutine. It fills you up. Like, it feels like you just ate a cement block.
Yeah. That's the best part.
That's fair. I had a really good sushi burrito in Toronto once.
That's strange.
Yeah. It was good.
Aren't sushis just already burritos in themselves?
You know, that's a very valid point. It's kind of like little
Fish
mini
burrito?
rice burrito wrappings, yeah. Have you ever had a sushi burrito? It's a revelation.
I'm going to get mad hated right now, but I don't mess
girl?
with raw food.
That's fair. Nothing wrong with that.
My tummy don't like it.
That's fair. I wonder what the Heretics players' favorite foods are. Do you think Benji Fishy's favorite food is fish?
Probably. Should we ask him?
We probably
He doesn't seem too busy.
He's doing something in there, but I don't know.
Hey, after the tech pause, Avo had that 3K, and I don't know, practice
tech
range
pause merchants.
diff.
Tech pause merchants.
Honestly, and you know, I'll put the trend out there that the side that had the most tech pauses won our last match.
That's valid.
So it's a tech curse, but a result blessing.
Tech boost, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk about what's going on in the A stream?
Sure.
100 Thieves won the first map 13-11. I'm sure you guys know that.
What?
Haven.
Yeah.
Solid defensive side, closed out in round 24 before OT.
9-3? Yeah.
And then EDG, big bounce back on the Sunset. Wow.
Ooh, Ascent last map? You kind of like to start a series on Ascent, not end it.
When was the last time you saw Boosty go 4-19 on a Cypher?
Oh, no. I wanted to hear him smack talk, and you can't talk when you go 4-19,
Yeah,
but we can talk about Icebox for another round.
Okay.
Hopefully many more.
Round every 5 minutes average right now. Let's get that thing going. We got our, round 4 operator in play here for Titan Esports Club. That's going to be something, again, that, you know, swapping off and getting onto the jet without the deadlock allows you a little bit more freedom to play off the aggressive knives or recon bolts to get forward, which is exactly what TEC are doing over at A. But early Owl Drone and Toxic Screen going to be sent over to B to put a little bit of pressure onto Hao Dong. Not going to call for any help as of yet, but we'll get a little bit of a lean over from Abo.
And there's some conditioning from Tech, too. First, they had that forward push using the Heretics Viper Wall against them. And now having a more passive B-Link approach, especially with Coco. 2 flashes at the ready.
I like that mini boost stays here to get revealed by that knife. T-Virus was on the way over, and if you don't reveal anything with that knife, there could be a quick wrap back over to A. Instead, that reveal puts a little bit more pressure. Does Minibu commit the paranoia here to put a little bit of extra, hey, we're still here kind of pressure onto TEC, or will they wait and just try to scale and lurk once they eventually hit some presence at A? And there we go. That's enough. That's going to keep the defense even more securely planted onto B. Should be a wide open A site.
And Tech just already got alerted to the A push of rotations coming in hot. And Lucas has 1 shock bolt left and wants to be at the front door to try and straight through and prevent the plan. But Benji, the ultimate backup plan. Great support from Heretics. They have been a threat on the A side.
Yeah, that's an expensive round right there for Titan. Flawless for Team Heretics, but more importantly, you bleed out the pockets of Titan completely with that operator being called into the picture. And that's just a really good kind of, again, duality style play for Heretics. You show that early aggression at B. It keeps eyes focused on that play at yellow, which, again, a lot of utility for Heretics was spent to kind of give the consideration to Titans that, yeah, they are, in fact, playing through this. But then the fact that Minibu stays in his place, gets revealed by the knife, and finds a kill just leads to a wide open A side. And from there, Heretics don't miss a beat. Really clean.
Yeah, Tech have just not been able to surprise Heretics. Trying to be preventative against the spike. Now Tech are on a save. Sheriffs have been
so
nice.
good.
What a shock.
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, you know that T-Virus is so close to getting knives, so you commit the early snake bite with the shock dart. The vulnerability makes it hit like a frickin' freight train. Really good set play from Heretics, predicting that there was going to be a set play for the orb on the other side. You avoid the knife, you get what you came for, and it should be a very comfortable 5v4 from here on out.
Got Lucas and Coco on the back end. And Tech, of course, have their Sentinel. Abo is going to push his luck with the Sheriff, of course, and you really want Tech to be able to stack together if they hope to withstand this, or at least do damage at the very least, because the economy is getting quite rich on the Heretic side.
Yeah, Lucas just has to hit a couple of headshots. The same can be said for everybody else who has Sheriffs. You know, you click a couple of heads, this can change a touch, but you are looking at a very difficult hold for the side of TEC. Dark cover will not block the line of sight for Lucas completely, so he'll get a read. The commitment is on the way in. Paranoia cuts across the site. Abo gets isolated. Nanostorm at the backside of the site, and Woot will push forward. Really clean stuff coming through as Heretics clean things up, leaving Hao Dong by himself.
30 seconds left.
You force one repurchase. Koreans will have to do that, but Heretics are still so rich, so it really doesn't matter. From a flawless into a almost flawless. This is really good bounce back from Heretics despite the tech pause and having to kind of re-energize. And every time they're like killing, they're getting hype over there. So this A site has been the secret sauce for Heretics.
And I will say, just kind of reflecting on yesterday's matchup for Team Heretics, they played behind the 8-ball the entire map. They were never in an economical advantage. They always had to kind of go through that cycle of save by, save by, save by. It just never feels good when you're in a best of one, and that's what the cycle ends up looking like. So for Heretics, finally here in Riyadh, a chance to be in control of the map and in control of the economy, which again just leads to these extra little bit of leaders advantages as you continue to your way through. The other important part about this, again, just to reflect, because it's been a while since we've talked about it, this is a new composition for Titan Esports, and even though Abo has played well, it does feel like there's a little bit of a miscoordination when it comes to how they want to set themselves up off of the early utility from things like the Sova and the KO. Are we getting forward with that? Are we using it for anything in particular, or is it just kind of using utility for using utility?
Yeah, Heretics just had a good set play. Maybe it just comes down to that early round. And speaking of that, you had the Coco knife being thrown towards deep into B main, droning up. Heretics is going to discover maybe T-Virus. No,
yeah,
maybe.
I think they saw the height of one.
Be able to dash out. Worst case. No, T-Virus is here to stay, ready to infect Heretics. And the second kill, too, before the trade. And a lot of distractions when you have the Hunter's Fury from Lucas thrown into the picture.
Yeah, that's a great call there, Jed. I mean, it really is just T-Virus is dead to rights. I mean, you use everything. You do ski just enough of him with the Aldrin. You commit the null command saying you cannot dash out. You have to hold your ground here. You separate a touch with the Hunter's Fury, but then you get 2 from T-Virus, Luke, which is just unbelievable out of him. So great stuff for Titan to bounce back, get us to a tie game, and say, not so fast there, Heretics. You're not going to be able to get away with everything you want.
Absolutely. What a performance out of Lucas, who was much quieter. I'm going to talk so much more about Lucas. Him and Coco, man, the two initiators that I wish did so much more on that sunset that I had casted, and so much more confidence. And when everyone's hyping you up, you get those kills, you set up T-Virus to look good, and I want to see more out of that Duelist. But it takes a team, it takes a family sometimes around a Duelist to really make them shine. And Titans not getting beaten up too much after getting hit by set plays, by seeing Heretics get richer and richer. And we're tied 3-3 apiece. A lot of factors coming into play here in Riyadh. Not just the heat, not just the fact that you're not at home, but a lot of time to kill between the rounds.
Yeah. You like your Valorant slow and steady, you came to the right place. But looks like we're starting to get things smoothed out just a touch here as we go into round number 7. Full purchase on the board, although Luke is actually going to hold off from buying and instead go into the knives by the look of it. So what's going to be the commitment call here? You got null command, one off of a lockdown as well for Titan's defense. And it will be a stinger added to the picture. Deep recon bolt. Luke is going to step up to try to keep earning back that Hunter's Fury he used in the previous round, but the suppression off the knife from the offensive side is key. And yeah, Luke just gets a little bit caught playing too far forward at screen. So first blood tallied for Team Heretics.
It's really good information off the boot knife, getting that ping, and Tech just couldn't escape. Just wanted to see if they could surprise Heretics in kind of a one-and-done type of spot. And T-Virus and Lucas now have to leave things off to Coco, who's just going to get locked down out of the A site.
And I wonder if this is just going to be TEC try to play for some passive angles on the backside of Rafters here. And if you don't find anything, then just forfeit the round away. You don't really have a great retake tool unless you find one and can use the null command. But they are going to step a little bit forward into Rafters. Split the difference on ropes. Abo down low, trying to get something out of the crossfire setup, but yeah, nothing there. And TEC get absolutely wiped off the floor with another flawless round for Team Heretics.
Out of 4 rounds, the Heretics have won. 2 of them have been flawless. And they just get richer. We're going to start seeing EWC prize pool type of numbers if Heretics don't get shut down. And hopefully this is just a timeout, but yeah, also it's big risks from TAC to keep pushing and being aggressive for that A orb. Haven't really swung around in their favor, but they're also realizing that retakes feel impossible against Heretics.
That's, I think, the bigger part of the picture here is the executes have been so clean for Heretics that Titan Esports are feeling like they have to try to contest the spike plant more than just play for a 5v5 retake or a 4v4 retake or something of the nature. I think especially considering the fact that the lockdown had not been earned yet. You only have the null command, which really doesn't deter the setup of a post plant on A. especially with the way Heretics are kind of stacking and splitting their attention from both playing deep and safe on the clutch post plant positions versus playing things like top 410 or underneath hell, things of the nature. So like the null command really doesn't do too much to help you reinitiate or retake based on how TEC are playing. But you know, on the other side of things, I am a little bit surprised that they didn't try to like find a pick and then commit to that last retake in a 3v5, because now you're in a broken buy situation. You have ultimates at the ready. You're not going to be able to really use them unless you find a couple of opening cheeky picks.
And just to update what's going on the A stream, EDG are 2 rounds away from eliminating the 100 Thieves in groups. It's a good day for China, I gotta say. XLG looked good and EDG. So anyway, let's focus in on this one. Heretics, another flawless round. Just love this A site. Just being able to explode in, of course, having all the flashes, and Woot has provided so much info to get the ball rolling. And you're going up against Sheriffs, but that's where Abo had that 3K. You have the lockdown, and T-Fire is cooked, and Lucas had help from the Viper wall and Heretics firing squad.
Yeah, just
still too good.
Pop execute right there from Team Heretics. In the past, they felt things out with things like a knife or an owl drone. This time, they just kind of walk Mini Boo up 410. And yeah, just T-Virus throwing a couple of shoulders, looking for just a pop and dash back. With the Sheriff, doesn't find anything, and then the isolation just leads to a complete collapse. So again, little variations in terms of what Heretics are showing at A, just trying to stay a little bit more unpredictable and not be completely one-dimensional on what they throw out and when it comes to an A execute. So, you know, even though it is an eco round, you don't really throw a lot of consideration to it. Heretics are diversifying their looks and, just trying to stay as variable as possible as they continue to look for this early setup to try to deny any sort of a opening orb play.
Just trying to be ready for Tech's walk up, and Heretics keep getting that orb for free. It would be just the way make these rounds even better for them, but you got an op into the equation, and T-Virus is a fun angle. Of course, you have flashes and support from his initiators if T-Virus is going to get pressured.
Yeah, this is a perfect setup right now in terms of how Titan have positioned the op plus the Howdong push up at B. They use the knife to clear this deep angle. Alarm bot sentry turret to keep mid safe. So Abo's also leaning towards A, because if there is a pop execute again, he can slow it down with the lockdown.
Ooh.
And this walk up tube is only going to get so far. The line in the sand is going to be right at the precipice of this window as soon as the sentry turret shows itself. That's it. Can't go any further.
In worst case, you can give the spike to Mini Boo and you could teleport to B, so you're kind of leaving your options open for Heretics.
Yeah, the thing about that call, though, is you just don't have any information on B at all. You even see like an offensive ping. Yeah, an offensive ping goes over to Closet, so they know that this could potentially be a play. Luke misses his first shot, though. Howdong kicks things off with a lurking play.
And that's good that you're able to dash out at least, keep that up, and keep that power position, but there is going to be a flank to worry about, and Heretics have to just evacuate all because of this lockdown, and you're still trying to get a plant off, and it's not going to happen.
Nope, clean. That just, in terms of how Titan set that round up, you get all that early dump of utility from Heretics onto the A orb. Titan just kind of keep their eyes on it from the backside of the site. And then as you start to see that early dump of utility, Howdong starts to sneak his way up green. You get a late knife from Coco to confirm that no one's on that close corner on the Closet. He steps into it. You've got all of your utility from Killjoy at mid to keep that safe, and you're just leaning and locking things down literally over on the A site. So great stuff from Titan. And if you're Heretics, now all of a sudden you got to kind of consider, like, we can't just default to playing off the barriers to A. We need to throw some consideration early to mid, or at least throw a little bit of utility over to B to try to keep this Titan defense a little bit more spread.
B side, never heard of her, but you got to know that Tech kept the op, and Heretics can still be confident going forward after they just flashed and made T-Virus uncomfortable and dash away. Still yet to feel the impact of that op, but that's just been how strong Heretics have looked on the initiator side of things. And you could always Hunter's Fury if you really wanted to pressure him out.
Yeah, you're going to have to use something here, I think, to open the doors if you're Heretics. It's the exact same approach in terms of their walk up into 410. The sentry turret is what's keeping the flank honest right now. So Boo could technically try to rotate into A and drop the Viper Spit, but now they're going to wrap back quickly to B. And this is just an angle that you don't love the look of. If you don't have anything to clear this, it's just going to really lean to Howdong's direction, and Boo's in some trouble now all of a sudden.
gets the Viper off, and Howdong almost had really nice timing, just caught off guard and forces Heretics to recenter themselves at A, and T-Virus still at
nice
the
shot.
Oh, the collat is insane! And he holds on more, the dash, and Heretics are on the chase, but they find themselves on their backs, and Tech, I should say, close to tying things up.
What a frickin' play from Coco. Just Jet getting enabled by Coco, setting things up. You help out just to try to watch that cross. T-Virus, the micro moment from Jet to also just kind of blind out that recon dart. Don't give away your position. You have to hit your shot, and you do. Brilliant stuff off the two defenders inside of A to hold off that hit from Heretics. It starts, of course, with the collat, but the fact that you get that late knife and a little bit of extra flash utility from Coco to stop Heretics at the choke point is brilliant, and they need to talk about it.
So many ults from the Heretics side, too, to figure out how you want to close out these two rounds. It has been neck and neck, and this is the Titans' choice of map before we go to Haven for Heretics and Sunset at the end, which kind of a nice way to end that series on Sunset, to sunset one of these teams out of groups. And it's, again, a toss-up, and then the winner has to face RRQ, so job's not done.
Yeah, very factual, but this is, you know, in terms of like looking at the current score and how the patterns have built, both teams will prefer to see the defensive side of this map, as most do, but 53% is the average margin of victory on the offensive side for Team Heretics. So at a 5-5 count, you get to 6, you're feeling pretty good. For Titan, on the other hand, you're really trying to get this thing 7-5. That would meet your average about 60% win rate on defense. So that's the goal. Again, playing a different composition than they're used to. But yeah, there's the moment I'm talking about where you put down the cloud burst, you stop the recon bolt, you hit your shot. I think there was a flash over the top at the same time from Coco, if I saw it right. Though again, like, keep Heretics away from being able to clear that angle. Just really good reactionary play from TEC. Full purchase still in hand, though, here for Heretics. Like you mentioned, lots of key ultimates ready. Most in particular, you do have things like the Viper's Pit and the Hunter's Fury, and then Minibu just an off angle up top. We'll go 1-for-1. Good trade, though, from Howdong. Can back up and lock down the site with the Viper's Pit of his own now. Yeah,
for Heretics to just slow it down, so you're kind of, where is that up? Because now it's the mind games. Okay, we've hit the A site so many times, with now more mixed success. Then you had that collab from T-Virus. Now, oh, are they expecting us to go B? Is T-Virus going to already be at B? And Heretics got to take their time to assess what is the best site.
Yeah, and I think the thing, too, for Heretics, kind of going back a couple of the rounds, is like you just don't want to be putting all your resources into a barrier drop play at A. You know, just kind of a dump and push is what they've been largely playing. You can see what that's done to Titan Esports. They continue to put a little bit of pressure over towards green, but more in particular, they're moving their Killjoy utility around to try to deal with that. And as you see the recon bolt come out, that's enough for Howdong to commit. Hunter's Fury trying to break down this Viper's Pit. Just comes down to, will this actually be a commitment here for Riyadh to get onto site? The knife doesn't see much, the flash doesn't do too much. So the Owl Drone has to find success here. Otherwise, you might find some sort of a late pivot back over to A.
And the drone is going through the pit, trying to get a ping on that Viper, and you can try to get the perimeter, but you're just going to fight fire with fire, overlaying both on top, and it's the up in the middle of the pit that's getting picks, and T-Virus comes alive, but Ditz is against trouble, and it's Heretics down for the count.
That is forcing a square peg into a round hole right there if you're Team Heretics. It just, nothing about that execute felt good. It starts with that opening trade for Titan. It keeps yellow in contest. The Heretics will have to spend something, which gives away that they're on the precipice of breaking the B site down. And so when that recon bolt comes out, that's kind of used to make sure no one's at back yellow. That's enough for Howdong to say, okay, I'm going to make sure they give no information whatsoever. We drop the Viper's Pit. We get a quick rotation back through mid because Heretics has not been able to put pressure on both sides at the same time. They have not really been lurking or trying to scale someone deep. So the easy commitment call for Titan comes through. And then even a, you know, green goo on green goo, it's just too much space given that Titan can use to re-break that stuff down, and Heretics just struggling to touch, although they can still afford full weapons here in the last round of the half.
Well, ask it, you shall receive. I wanted to see the impact of this op, and through all the pits.
Wow.
It's crazy. Oh, wait, Minibu's gonna stick this? He's insane, and he's been spotted. At least knows where the op is, but there is a 3 versus 2 engagement on the front lines of B main, and Coco gets away with 2 before Benji finishes off that story in a good way.
Watch out for Abo. Quick on the rotation underneath Tube, can try to stop this plant with nanos. You also have the Hunter's Fury to break this down. absolutely perfect read from Titan to deal with that quick from the shadows teleport.
Oh, Tech, it's...
You should run.
The C stands for clutch, I think. The spike's left behind, and we're pretty much going to be looking at a 7-5 half. Lockdown, Benji, 1 versus 3. Been up at B-Link, and Snowman being droned out. Lucas.
Got the spike.
Benji recovers the spike. No lockdown detains. Trying to force Abo out of cover. Spike being tapped. There is
Nice
the
play.
swing, and Abo's looking so good today.
So good from Titan Esports. Just the quick reaction. This is where they really struggled yesterday versus RRQ. When they were kind of bursted on and they had to make quick adjustments, quick decisions. They were a little bit slow or a little bit maybe just kind of caught in the gray area of what are we doing? How are we doing it? Not a question here throughout those last 4 rounds for Titan, even though Heretics were, again, trying to manipulate and vary their looks. But we're seeing some really great confident play calls coming out in terms of adjusting and reacting to what Heretics had thrown. So 7-5 was the metric that meets the statistic of the average of Titan on the defensive side. It's about 60% win rate. They get that. And now the question is, with this new composition, how much have they been able to really kind of game plan on the offensive side to see if they can take their map pick?
Things started off much stronger for Heretics when they had all these flawless rounds. The A site was theirs, constantly forced a lot of different shifts from Titans, from fighting from that A orb to being more passive, to then the ults coming online. The lockdowns were pivotal. The T-Virus ops started firing, and he had a much more even showdown when it came to the end of that first half. Of course, Pistol did go the way of Titans, but I think the tables have turned and Heretics are looking more warmed up than how this whole match started as well.
Well, I mean, I think the thing about it is, like, it's hard to sit there and say, like, what the Heretics doing was wrong or bad. It's just down to, like, what they're throwing at Titan required a player or two to essentially do what was done. Like, you got to hit a shot if you're T-Virus on that play with the operator over towards A, he gets a collat. You have to hold your ground if you're T-Virus on that play over towards yellow and green where, like, you're isolated and no command's thrown your way. He gets 2. Like, it's just a couple of great moments individually where you're asked to answer a question and they have provided the correct response. So good rebuttal there in the last 4 rounds for Titan after what looked to be almost a runaway half for Heretics. And a very crucial Pistol starts to kind of frame ourselves for the second half, as Heretics would love to get this thing back to a tie game quickly before they start their defense.
It's going to be an important Pistol to see if Tech could increase this lead even more, or if Heretics are going to take back control of this map, and also just the series that a lot of people were expecting them to take on in a more one-sided affair. But all the underdog talent, all the underdog teams, I should say, have really stepped up to the plate. Now trying to cross through all that KJ, util, yellow box control for T-Virus, exchanging shots into B-Link through the Viper wall that is obscuring both the numbers and who is there.
Yeah, that's a lot of the utility for Heretics, though, to try to resist against a follow-up play. So Tech are going to kill the noise, create a little bit of doubt. They also need to be careful of the flank, as that turret that was placed, that closet was dealt with at range early through A. And yeah, T-Virus is trying to take a peek to see where the defense is. He gets punished. 5v4 Heretics scaling forward, retaking not just the B site, but some key positions here at yellow.
Kind of indecision. It looked like Tech were trying to re-clear through their own spawn.
Yeah, they had to, because the sentry turret was destroyed.
Yeah, it's really tough. Now have to fight for yellow box control, and
left.
just the solo swing, and the recon
reveal.
is a distraction, and oh my god, Benji and Boo do their best, and their best is enough. The Pistol goes to Heretics.
Yeah, really good stuff right there for Heretics. Again, they dump all of their utility, which there's not a lot purchased, obviously, for a Pistol. You resist the play at B, but I think, again, just kind of most importantly, and I'm glad that we caught it, it was that opening battle, Ghost versus Sentry Turret at Closet, where TEC, that's their flank watch. As soon as that falls, you have to be very cautious after not finding success breaking through yellow on their initial hit of, is there a quick wraparound? This is why you back up, back to Closet, you make sure no one's behind you, and then you just hope a recon bolt's enough to get you forward. But good stuff from Heretics to resist the opening play, put pressure on the flank, and then manipulate the map after that. So big Pistol win. Classics, for the most part, 1 Sheriff for Tech, as we've got Bulldogs, Marshall, Stinger, and a Sheriff upgrade for Heretics in the anti-eco.
Just a good buddy system from Heretics. It's just always been a position to trade. No, just maybe catching that ankle of T-Virus very soon, and Mini Boo does not care what you throw at him and throws you out of the sight. Beautiful second shot, and now Wadanza gets another. The no-scope, almost the 4K. And Boo finishes things off too. And the comeback is there.
Yep, good stuff, clean, just about as good as you would expect. Not much really to break down there. It's Mini Boo hits shots, win round. So now we go into the bonus for Team Heretics. Well, really just the one repurchase has to come through for Mini Boo. Whereas full rifles are not as potent as you would assume in round 3 of a half for Titan Esports, seeing as they have not been able to plant the spike yet. So 2 regenerative armors plus 1 light armor. You're also dealing with no shock darts for Lucas. That's kind of an important note. And I think this, again, like this utility and the weaponry plus the armor situation is not as comfortable for TEC as you'd like. This is everything you would want to see if Heretics were to pull off something like a bonus. So we'll see if they can find a way to muster that, as Lucas will connect onto first blood, off angle from Mini Boo punished.
It's Tech that won't be surprised, but will still take the time to maybe recon up, or even use Coco's and knives and just layering that. Can't underestimate what Heretics can do, especially someone like Woot. He's got the firepower of Riyadh behind him. Make this as difficult as possible. And you also have that anchor of Abo left behind, not letting Heretics go for any quirky flanks.
Well, it's interesting. You got the flash of the recon bolt here for Titan, but they don't commit to it. A chance to kind of react with the knife close. Toxic screen runs out of its poison, but you can reset it here with TEC not committing off of that little utility dump. And in that moment, Abo is going to try to feel things out through mid. And if you can delete the sentry turret, you might be able to call some of these defenders off the site, which is important. Knife will reveal a couple, but the long peek does not work out, and now Titan can just run forward. Yeah, no chance there for Boo, and it'll be a comfortable purchase win here for Titan.
Yeah, Tech revealing their numbers and overwhelming Heretics in that encounter, and Benji's left with a lot on his plate to finish. 1 versus 3. Not a lot of time to do so.
And no rifles here for him to collect. All of the offensive bodies are just too far away.
Finding a way, Coco can make first contact, of course, with a flash too, with Haodong ready to swing, and Wei Benji gets one, not the other, and it's Tech back in the lead. The lead just keeps changing.
Yeah, but for a bonus, you're going to take that. I think if you're Team Heretics, you know, you're able to force out 3 repurchases. Granted, the plant's going to make things a little bit more comfortable for Titan. Plus, of course, they did save a little bit of an economy from not purchasing into full armor, not being able to, and then also kind of saving some of the resources on what utility they purchased. But initially, you kind of look at how this this initial push attempt for Tech was kind of stalled out again, and you think, wait a second, Heretics have a chance to try to battle back after a lot of the key execute utility was expended, but a couple of opening shots leading to a numbers advantage allowed Tech to continue to use their numbers best they possibly can. Opening toggle for position here around the orb. That Nano Swarm trying to get some pressure on top 410, but Woot is still in position up there, and I'd be curious to see if Tech will do their diligence and continue to put the focus up top here after using some utility to try to contest it.
Yeah, that's crazy pressure out of Heretics, but how long can they really keep this up for? Because this KO don't have a dash the way that the Jet does. Of course, you're not even running a Duelist, so, well, you just get to escape the old-fashioned way, and Tech are being patient. We'll see if that pays off.
Well, up and over goes the Jet. Lucas for 1 on the trade, but Riyadh's just getting the job done on the low ground. It's good for 3 before eventually being shut down. Boo, last one, standing now in the 1v2, rotating from the other site. This should be a post plant. Just comes down to where do you want to set it up if you're Tech.
The Heretics had some good cutoffs. As soon as you saw that dash pass, they cut off the reinforcements, and there's some duels on the front line. Tech still stands, but for how long? Wait a minute, Boo. No 1 versus 2, now make it only 1. And it's against that star Duelist. T-Virus has been on one today. Now you kind of force him to play close to the spike because of that wall. Now that that's gone, spamming through the box, Boo will touch the spike, and T-Virus will put him to bed.
Yeah, great stuff from Tech. You know, it is interesting, I think, to kind of see the decision. We haven't really talked about this in the compositions, but for Heretics to not play a Jet here does allow, you know, Luke to kind of have free reign over the high ground, which is why I think you're seeing Miniboo like teleporting up top over towards the backside of A. You have the same thing kind of occurring with the KO playing up on 410 like that. Like, you have to find ways if you're Heretics to make sure that T-Virus is not up there for free, but at the same rate, you don't have the same manipulation of space, especially with the speed that a Jet normally would. So it does require you to, you know, find success with your utility or win your first 1v1. Neither really happened there for Heretics outside of Riyadh, who does a nice job down low. Hunter's sure going to get called in. Just trying to create something here if you're Riyadh. Blindly over towards Closet with Heretics not really playing forward on B this time. But with that clearance, Boo will step up and the rest of the numbers of Heretics will stack on towards A.
Kind of a YOLO type of Hunter's Fury, especially when you didn't get anything off the Woot knife that early, but A side is popular, and so is Woot after a shot like that, and Rians has been holding it down for A, and wait a minute, a thrifty opportunity, and Abo is dead too. What a round for Heretics.
Absolute momentum changer right there. And as much as Rien's ult doesn't find anything, it also confirms no information is good information. If you're not connecting with anybody over towards Closet, over towards Green, even over towards the backside of that alleyway to spawn, you should know that Tech not showing much pressure towards B with any utility is stacked up at A. So you get yourself into a position. The Guardian sings a bit of a song, the Sheriffs follow up, and Heretics stall off the hit nicely, largely off of the utility from Boo there. So great stuff with that toxic screen. And a big flip of the eco now as Titans have to go onto their eco.
Tech on the approach. Okay, Outlaw there. Let's go somewhere else. That's not fun. Both Recon and Knife being used too from the initiators of Heretics to check out A. Lurk not being sussed out there yet. Tech take their time to clear.
It's just this is a uphill battle right now for Tech. Losing on your execute of Luke's Jet is pretty big. It's a casual flash over the top as a response to the Owl drone being sent. Lucas, does he see anything? No, doesn't get over the top, so. Shock darts just kind of picking away at this. 50 seconds to play, and Tech have to try to force something, and the play is going to be up towards mid. Good catch from the observing team here as Benji is avidly watching it and able to find one. Trade is decent, but again, that's just classics. You're trying to get the weapon, and there's someone there to guard it. A little bit more punishing than you would expect, but largely comfortable here for Heretics to get to a 9-9 count.
Drive-through window with the drive-by afterwards.
30 seconds left.
B Heretics evening things up now, 9-9 apiece. I'll take myself out, he says. No real win streak from either team. And now we'll take a timeout to figure out these ultimates. Hunter's Fury and Pit for Tech. Hunter's Fury, I think. Well, we'll take a look once again. But yeah, 2 ults for Titans going forward. Yeah,
in some of the difficulty right now for Titans has been kind of the same thing that Heretics were facing. Like, how do we get the defense to feel a little bit more uneasy on really the A side in particular? Because we've often seen Heretics after the first 30 seconds kind of go by, they get the Viper up to Green for at least position to shoulder and catch information, if not maybe play a little bit forward through that closer to Closet. And so you can triple stack onto A. And when in a world where you don't have a Jet, trying to be able to throw things like recon darts and knives and flashes really helps that defense stay solid, because you're essentially trying to resist Luke's ability to flash and dash into zone right. So yeah, that little bit of like recon utility that you would normally try to feel out a team with is really being restrictive right now for Titans. So into this next full purchase with ultimates available, I think the goal has to be, let's try to catch Team Heretics a bit more off guard and not just allow them to, you know, get these early picks or early information gathering to allow them to triple stack on A.
And just great reads from Heretics to just always catch every rotation, every pivot, every second thought Tech have had. So a very even series for Icebox. As Tech now can scale off their Viper wall. Of course, there is always that secondary option, as it looks like Abo's going to go Lurk 2, 1 away from the lockdown. Deep smoke allowing Miniboo to creep up towards mid.
Yeah, different look here for Team Heretics. You've got the Killjoy utility set up at yellow because you can back off and lockdown if you feel the presence. You also have Woot 1 off of a null command. So in terms of Benji Fishy being a potent defender. He's got all the tools needed, although this step up to yellow causes maybe a little bit more of a, I won't say like a concern, but it does raise an eyebrow because you're going to need help for it. Dark cover comes through over the top. Luke going to dash right past the flash. Benji for one, and the opening engagement solid here for Tech, who have still not lost eyes on A with Albo watching over the top of it.
That's the strength of having that jet, being able to access that high ground a lot easier and be as aggressive and fast like that. You didn't let that paranoia and any development come out of Miniboo because he was still placing a smoke, and Tech will go to plan B, aka the A site. Pressure back through screens. Great opening shot from Woot. Riyadh's the teamwork is next level of their impact at being the anchors for A. And Woot against 2. Howdong and T-Virus with the spike getting planted and nothing for Woot to really use.
And he's uneasy about the flank, so this is going to be really peculiar to see how he puts himself in a position to handle this 1v2.
Has to go and explore, and health draining. As already put shots in, so he alerts Tech to his presence. Not even gonna tap the spike, and Howdong peeks in, double digits for Tech.
Yeah, really good stuff there from Tech, and it's almost exactly as, you know, prescribed. Put pressure across the entirety of the map. You know, you've got Abo, who never loses eyesight on the top of A. You play the little flash and dash cover over towards top green into yellow. That works out really nicely for the opening engagement. Yes, there's a trade that comes through, but again, in that picture, you never lose sight of A, but more importantly, you also had Howdong, who was making sure the defense was kept honest on the rotation back through mid as well. So again, a really good off the post timeout play to stretch the defense, contest them across every angle of the map, and not just play them, you know, 5v5 or 5v4 or 4v3, like on top of one particular site. So really love that a lot in terms of Titan's evaluation of what's going wrong and how they can best counter it.
Technical Esports Club. 10-9. It just builds tension, guys.
Does it? The only tension I'm feeling is in my lower back right now.
I see you doing yoga over there.
That's just stretching. I'm old.
Prod, hey, I got you to admit it twice today.
I'm owning it today.
We're going to start doing yoga classes, Prod. Show us on cam, hit the, what's it, the Iron Man pose? What is that?
What, T-pose?
Not the T-pose. Oh, the Warrior.
The Warrior.
That's
the one where like you're like in lunge.
Yeah, I like that one.
You like this? You like this form out of me?
I can tell your jeans are stretchy because...
They are a little stretchy, I can't lie.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of people who are probably tuning into the stream right now because the A stream is over. Hi.
Well, it's over?
It's over. EDG 113.10. Little comeback effort from 100 Thieves, but couldn't quite get over the finish line, so.
That's a bummer
they're
for
down
100 Thieves, but awesome for EDG, obviously.
Yeah, and I think, you know, 100 Thieves will look at this event and say, not bad. You know, they played Fnatic down to the wire, and they played, obviously, a really solid team at EDG right afterwards, and played them really tight, so. You know, it's just one of those things that you look at and say, okay, like we're competing with some of the world's best teams, you know, that are out there, especially after what we saw at Masters. And I'm sure they're looking at Stage 2 North America and saying that we can compete and be at the top of the lists again. Things are going pretty well. Looks like the adjustments are solid.
We've had some keys get crushed.
Yeah,
of course,
3.
if you guys go to EWC_extra question
Is that what
mark?
they're doing that?
I saw some photos. I don't get to watch the A stream too much, you know, handling business here, but the whole hydraulic press and everything, I like the little purses that everyone keeps their keys in too, nice and safe. I'd be losing that. I'd be putting it in my back pocket, and do not put me in charge of keys.
It's heavy. It's like straight gold. It's heavy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah, and having keys get crushed. I just want to see the first Valorant event, you pick 3 keys, of losing teams to put in your trophy.
I think there's going to be
juicy.
like, let's just say and hypothetically go down this pathway. Let's just say like Paper X and Fnatic play the grand finals as a rematch. You take that person's key. And then after that, do you take like your inter-region rivals and take their keys? Even though even if you didn't beat them, like do you just like take the teams from your region, or?
I would take the #1 from all the other regions.
That's fair. I think there's also
maybe
a level
the people
like,
you just beat.
Yeah, people that you beat, like that could be something.
Sense.
Yeah.
But also aura farming to be able to put all the #1 teams
tight.
from all the other regions, because you would be just the best team in the world, quote unquote.
Here's a question for you. So I know like we had this conversation as like a talent team before the event started. Like a lot of us still ranked Fnatic higher than Paper X because of the consistency they've shown on the year. What would have to happen for that to be a distinct difference? Like, does Paper X have to win for them to be the best team in the world definitively, or do they currently hold that after winning Masters? Like, what's your take on who the best team in the world is right now?
That's so tough because I really would just want to be on the Paper X. I'm very Paper X pilled.
That's fair.
They won the Masters, and I think the winning team should be considered the best team. And
yeah.
But it makes for a great comeback story of Fnatic who really beat themselves up and thought that was winnable. And if they were to go and win this event, I mean, the esports narratives write themselves.
That's fair. I think there's also a level of, like, we talked a lot about how Group A was, like, super soft. And Paper X struggled versus Billy down 10-4, ended up winning it in double overtime. But then they dealt with Carmine Core pretty quickly, like 2-0. So, you know, I don't think there's a lot of weight flown around towards the caliber of opponent that they've played to this point.
What if this is the event for NRG? Can I just throw that out there? They look really good.
They're currently, based on, like, map differential and round count differential, they're currently the best team at the event.
Just Mata is so sick. That whole team is North America's hope. Sentinels have to face DRX, so we'll see.
That's gonna be a banger,
tomorrow.
by the way. I'm pumped for that one. That's a banger.
We'll see tomorrow. Maybe I don't know who we have to beat up to get that on the B stream, but
I think it would be, right? Because
I don't know.
KC, Billy.
I just work here.
I just work here. No, they're. I bet they sauced DRX Sentinels to main, because that's some aura farming match right there.
And we're not gonna. And kind of what I like about this format is you get like if you won early, you got more breaks. To kind of de-stress and figure out your next move, watch the tape on everyone else.
Yeah, sure.
Heck yeah.
Who do you like between Gen G and EDG?
I'm pretty EDG pilled. I'm pilled on a lot of things, apparently. I keep saying that. But
I can hear that. They already had, I mean, they had a 13-4 win already. It's a rematch. Gen G had a 13-4 win, I'm saying. But.
Oh, and then they have ZJC, who I thought was going to lose some aura after changing that name.
Kong.
Oh, Kong. Who was the guy who changed his name? ZMJ?
Oh, no, ZJC did change his name. Yeah, you're right. ZMJCKK 52 exclamation point tilde key.
Yeah, one of the Z's changed their name.
ZJC did.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, changing your name. We kind of wanted our lives to be a living hell about at least player name pronunciations.
Yeah, for real. There's a couple of tough ones at the event for sure. Kind of tallying what's happening at the moment on stage. Looks like the issue is on the side of TEC. There is quite a huddle of referee black shirts around their stage, but they're starting to disperse. We really should. You know, that's a heck of a way of motoring off. One by one they go.
I heard game is ready, so any second now.
Famous last word.
This is the youngest and oldest you're ever going to be. Live in the moment.
Well, no, this is the youngest I'll ever be. You always get older. You never get younger, right? Youngest and oldest. Wait, is that right?
Now you're making me think too hard. This is the youngest. Wait.
This right now is the youngest you'll ever be.
Yeah.
And now you're not. Now you're the youngest again.
Yeah.
Because you never get younger.
Yeah. Well.
Uh-oh, Mitch is coming back up. That's not a good sign.
Mitch, are you the youngest and the oldest you'll ever be?
No.
He's just laughing.
If he were to die tomorrow, in the next second, he's the oldest he'd ever be.
Oh, your mic's up. What's up?
Hi, guy.
What was the question?
Are you the youngest and oldest you'll ever be?
Jen just said you're the youngest and oldest you'll ever be right now. It's like, it's the youngest I'll ever be.
The youngest?
Not the oldest.
Huh?
Because you're constantly getting older, right?
Yeah.
Like every second you're getting older.
Yeah, I'm aware.
That's kind of like how it's like a mind,
the
it's
like
a mind
impending
twister.
doom.
Yeah, it's the mind
the
twister.
daily.
It's kind of like saying like there's no such thing as a unused mirror. A mirror is always used. There's no such thing as a non-used mirror.
Oh.
You know?
That's
All
true.
right. Thanks for the insight, Mitch.
Thanks,
we'll
Mitch.
see you at our next Tech Pause if you want to hang around and talk about concepts of time with us. We were talking about concepts of yoga, too. I'm about to warrior pose on whatever is causing these technical issues, but Tech, 10-9. Can they stay in the lead?
Yeah. This is a big round right here, no command, and you have the lockdown at the ready for Heretics. Just comes down to the timing of at which point would you like to use that, knowing that a Hunter's Fury and a lockdown is available at the same rate for TEC. Coco is one off of a no command of his own. So what I'm trying to get at is this could be a very, very cinematic round.
I love that for VALORANT. 2-3 setup. Heretics, the ball is in your court. Pawns in place.
Love this.
Ooh, the walk up from Mini Boo and Woot.
Riyadh's going to allow himself to be seen off of that. And a forward dart cover to keep the pressure on to Tech if they do want to go over towards A. But they've gotten a correct feel for this, saying, you don't need to deal with that. Let's just head back over and scout out B. Now keep in mind, Benji Fishy has all of his utility to block off any early play towards yellow. If that starts to get triggered, he has the ability of lockdowning and getting out of there to allow his defenders to get back over and reset.
Hunter's Fury, lockdown. Use it to enter or use it for the post plan. I would say post is looking pretty good unless Benji's got something up his sleeve, and you always can fight fire with fire, lockdown with lockdown. We already had 2 pits. What about second lockdown?
Keep in mind you can deny the offensive post plant lockdown with a well-timed null command of your own, so watch that long wrap back through mid at the moment.
And the Hunter's Fury too. At a distance, Lucas is going to keep himself safe. And here is Heretics cutting through B link. The smoke's in place to try and separate Team Fires from the rest. And it's the first lockdown, I believe, from Benji, and then the other. Okay, and now all the cards are on the table as Tech hopes to protect the spike. And a beautiful 3K from Haldong seals the deal for Tech.
That is absolutely brilliant, especially just, again, the knowledge and the wherewithal of Abo to sit here and say, okay, we've gotten about half of this plant gone. Time is going to be an issue here for Heretics. We haven't seen the lockdown yet. You know that Benji Fishy's close by. You know, more importantly, that Woot is rotating off of A. So you call in the lockdown right before the KO gets there. Never allows Benji Fishy to get his down, to deny the plant, let alone the post-plant setup. And Tech, that's a massive round advantage getting late into this first map.
They're yelling too. That must mean the PCs are working. And they're working hard too in this map. 11-9. The narrative continues. Teams just seem to peak against Heretics.
Yeah. I mean, that was
even the PCs.
That was perfect for Titan. Absolutely perfect. Everything in terms of how they manipulated off of A to pop in an ult command early, to make sure that lockdown doesn't get thrown in immediately, and then just the proactive time to drop your own and then have the Hunter's Fury as a last chance kind of security tab to make sure there's no push-up is just absolutely beautiful. So we did get the cinema that we expected with all those ultimates being spent, and the pressure now firmly onto the shoulders of Heretics to see how do they respond. Do they even have the economy to get back into this round? It's going to be a very tough purchase where they just lost against so many tools.
Ever since that Tech timeout, Titans have been, I'm going to say the Titans Esports Club timeout. They have been flawless, 2 away from taking their map pick, going to Haven, which is the playground of Heretics. Ooh, the double walk-up from Heretics on the left side of the map.
Yeah,
getting aggressive too.
You got to do something with the limited purchase. You're putting the judge in position to stop things at B. You can rotate quickly if you're Miniboo with the from the shadows. Knife will reveal, looks like 2 for Heretics. No commitment to teleport yet if you're Miniboo. Dark cover to support as much as it possibly can on the cross in through where the orb would be. Fragment also here for this. A little bit messy as Tech makes their way forward.
Big battle of the mentals and battle of a Duelist versus none, and Virus on the high ground and in the back of the minds of Heretics as they're behind in this round as well. And that double walk-up did not serve too much, but on the limited buy, you did what you could, and we look at match point now for Tech.
Miniboot thought about it. I mean, he hit from the shadows over towards the backside of Rafters, but as soon as you lose your first 2 defenders, it's just so difficult to commit to staying in that position. So you'll back off, rotate over. You have Benji Fishy on a bit of alert, but Miniboo would have to supply all of the antics if this would be some sort of a bounce back round, and it will not happen. So 12-9 going to be the count here. Benji just looking for some sort of an exit elimination, but this has been really, really clean for Tech. Again, if you're joining us late here off of the A stream, this is a composition that we have not seen from Tech. They like to play Deadlock in the past. Same can be said, though, for Heretics. They appreciated playing Neon in the past. Now they're going no Duelist, and at the moment, kind of squaring up against the adjustments, Tech have held a major advantage.
Heretics have run out of second chances. And it's a win streak that is now formed for Titans ever since that timeout. You got a big Hunter's Fury from Rians, and he has had a pop-off with those and just pop off even individually when it comes to anchoring the A site alongside Woot. That has been a deadly duo where Miniboo is flexed between serving B, serving A, and acting as like a pseudo-initiator in some ways with these blinds.
Yeah, it's just Tech have done a better job in the exchange of utility to feel more confident getting onto site than what we saw yesterday. That's kind of my biggest takeaway at the moment. A little bit of a walk down here, though, with Aldron really the only thing in the way. It does get a bit of a reel. Miniboo may have taken a step too far, and that will be enough for him to back off. But again, Heretics defense will appreciate the forward position at A, allowing themselves to commit more resources and eyes of attention in other places, including an Aldron, which does see Luke up top on tube. Hunter's Fury, bold, but does connect the first. Doesn't get the full elimination, doesn't need to. Boot gets the kill. Last shot for Riyadh to make sure no one's playing through A, and that will make sure that Miniboo feels pretty confident staying up top on ropes.
That's tough. That Hunter's Fury just clipped the shoelaces of T-Virus as they thought he had enough height on it. And Tech have their lurk insert at A that can maybe wrap around, and despite all the space that Tech had made at B, they're swapping.
Yeah, the thing about this, though, is they don't know that Miniboo is still playing up top here. So they're sitting here saying Lucas has cleared out all of A. He gets shut down. And with 38 seconds, you kind of have to commit. And Miniboo's completely unnoticed. Hi, how are you? Easy follow-up in with no more action. And that knife not revealing anything. The defense will quickly rotate back over to see if they can help out Boo on the other side of the map, who's in a 1v2 by himself at the moment.
Yeah, that's a decision that's going to haunt Tech. Just that indecision it's not the first time we've seen that out of Tech. And 1 versus 4. Heretics are still in this. They'll get to double digits at an arm's reach of Tech. Tao Dong is taken care of. And Heretics get to still keep 4 of those guns, which is important considering how broke they kind of are.
Yeah, and I don't know if I classify that round as indecision for Tech. I think it's just kind of unlucky, you know, that you got this really far forward play from Lucas, just getting quickly to the backside of A, but never tallies that in that opening exchange of utility that Miniboo had played this far forward. We had not seen this yet, so it's a bit unfortunate. I think the most impressive part about that, and whether it's a little bit of that spidey sense tingling or not, it's that Heretics actually do get the kill onto Lucas before he can make a play behind the defensive rotation, and that makes that round so much easier. But yeah, Tech are just trying to stretch the map in a different way, with Luke up towards mid, trying to pull the focus for Heretics. That doesn't really fully work out. And then, yeah, just 2 ships in the night that ends up favoring Heretics as you jump in around 23 with a Viper's Pit blocking green.
Well, at least your decision can be certain this time for Tech going towards A when B is all pitted off. So it's T-Virus that has to lay the groundwork down. Pressure that high ground against Woot. He's able to drop down whenever.
Yeah, he's also hearing a lot, which is the biggest thing here. You saw him pull the knife for a moment, but wants to see if he can catch timing from top 410 and maybe feel things out a little bit later with a deeper knife if they want to try to see if Tech are still here or not. And they'll get the information they want.
All right, that smoke clears and it's time to move if you're T-Virus. Of course, when that suppression is over, of course, and Woot will have a fun angle to use and spotted the jet, and okay, the flash is out. The drone won't ping Woot, and he falls back, but his omen's revealed, and Miniboo, all the initiators working together.
Man.
That's a big first blood for T-Virus. Dodges a paranoia, won't be able to dash in, and Heretics hold the wall.
Follow-up knife, though, for the offense reveals both. So you just have to try to find a way to execute and break down this setup. Reveal is out. Miniboo caught. And now knives to try to put this over the finish line for Tech as they're going to get the plant.
All right. Heretics have to save themselves here. And they still have rotations from Boo from the other side of the map. And Heretics only have so much time they can kill. Abo has been pinged. The shock bolt doesn't get damage, but it is trying to force some movement. The double watch from Tech. The top door. Rians is going to need help. He needs luck. And Benchy does cause a ruckus. And it's all over for Heretics. Tech take map 1.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff out of Tech since the post timeout action that we kind of called upon. Again, the biggest issue for them on the offensive side was getting a little bit too one-dimensional and allowing Heretics to push up on the extremities of the map, feel comfortable with a triple stack at A more often than not. Then you start to see them, again, stretch the map. Here's a little bit of pressure at B. Here's a little bit of pressure at A. We're keeping eyes on A. A rotation back through mid. We're putting the fight like that staying presence that they were able to pull. So we'll see what they get. And looking at it, you were right, Mitch. It will just be Lucas swapping from the Tejo into the Sova.
All right, well, guys, take it away. And let's see if Titan can get a big upset here, or if Team Heretics can start to recover from a 9-map loss streak.
Oh, so no Neon T-Virus really warmed up from that icebox, and Coco sticks to that breach. And again, a lot of weight on his shoulders to set up T-Virus for success, but I mean, that's exactly what Tech did to give themselves a map win. It's going to be some C pressure initially.
Yeah, just to kind of speak to the history for all you nerds out there, Heretics have not dropped this map since February, so it's been good, it's been clean, it's been pretty much perfect across all of EMEA. A little bit of pressure here at C. Paranoia at the ready. Here comes the retake quickly. Mood able to find one, Benji another, and the trade's good for Heretics as they're going to finish things off swiftly.
That sparked a lot of energy, a lot of hype from the Heretics side. They had me jump scared too. And it's all about that break between the maps and how they're able to circle that initial box and just kick back against Tech, who had such good early pressure on C. And now it's the anti-eco for Heretics going forward, hoping to force that map 3. This is, of course, their map pick. Big win streak, as you mentioned, and sniper buy from Miniboo, which he was very good on the previous map.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, this is a nice spot.
The other side of this for Heretics, you know, that we often see with this double duelist composition, what kind of early success can you find contesting a lobby from the defensive part of the map? You get the early recon bolt, the early dark cover. That's kind of a standard approach toward is Benji is just going to kind of spam through the smoke at C long to find first blood. Rest of the focus here for Tech is just looking for a pick somewhere else, as it's just classic with the one Sheriff of Abo, and Miniboo is not missing. Little right click off Boo's bursting Bulldog, comes up a bit high, and well, 5v3 with weapon advantage. Things looking pretty comfortable for Heretics anti-eco.
And Tech, oh, just eating the shotgun. That close, not expecting it. Even just backdoor garage was unsmoked. Tech were just going for a Hail Mary. The Abo Sheriff is always nice, but it's the Heretics start that is even nicer.
Yeah. That's what you need. A little momentum resetter here for Heretics. You're Tech, you're not sweating yet. Just a pistol on the anti-eco after all. But now we're going to kind of see what they want to do to Heretics defensively to try to, again, do what they almost what they did in Icebox. Like, how do you keep this defense a little bit more uneasy on the sites? You know, you don't expect to see a lot of kind of poking and playing through mid, at least not unless the intention is to finish on to B. But trying to win A long, I think is going to be a very key success point for Tech, especially considering that, you know, Yoru has the ability of dancing back and forth between sites so quickly, so you just do not want to allow Heretics to win A long and then allow Miniboo to do what he wants to do with his gate crashes.
Okay, things are gonna settle down now that the smoke's in place and Miniboo is out. Teleporting out, and that's Tech left with a mystery, but the slow type of default style that they had on Icebox continues here. They want to be certain.
Well, the thing too here, again, for the side of Heretics, losing A long forces a decision on what do you want to do with Woot. Because he could technically jump into A if you lose long and then just pop the double tap shield and try to stay on as long as humanly possible with support from Boo, who does get taken down by Abo, just right in the corner, even though the judge usually wins that battle. And for Heretics, they're going to put a little bit of responding pressure back through mid, keep Tech a little bit softer on the A site. Contingency comes through, and that will be an opportunity here for Miniboo and Woot try to work their way back onto site.
Yeah, the plot armor for Abo is strong. Howdong will be in hell, and Tech have all their corners checked in a crossfire. They do shoot the Yoru clone. There's the ISO wall leading, and Heretics haven't committed yet. Trying to still assess the positioning. You get the ping on the one. Who tries to check the corner, but the smoke really messes things up for Heretics.
Random headshot through smoke, but shouldn't make much of a difference here. There's no way that Woot goes for this. So, yeah, really good from Tech. Again, I have to say this one more time. I promise I won't be a broken record. Tech needs to continue to win the isolation battle on A long. If they can put pressure on A long like that, it's going to, again, force decisions in terms of how long does Miniboo want to stay, when does he actually force the gate crash back to try to play off the middle of the map. Does that mean that Woot has to hard commit to playing inside of A if Benji Fish is going to continue to put his utility over towards B and C? Like, there's a lot of questions that start to crop up if Heretics cannot win the opening engagement and utility exchange at A long. And you can see it. I mean, it's against that same triple stack. We'll see if Tech to try to, you know, try to match that.
trying to suss out where Miniboo is. He was playing a chamber type of style of peeking early in these rounds, trying to go for picks, and Tech just don't want to give him an inch. And then you have to re-clear, figure out what side of the map he ended up on. Meanwhile, you have Benji hold the whole left side of the map. He's got cameras, he's got trips. Allows Heretics to stack over at A, which has been a lot of the action for Tech.
Yeah, and this is the power of playing the Euro here, is if things start to feel weird, you can just teleport back, and yep, that's exactly right. Now you're all of a sudden your backside garage. So you win that A long battle. Tech not really giving it much of an effort this round, and Woot will also find first blood on the cross through B main. So big advantage here early for Tech's defense. Only real resistant point would be here at mid, but Woot covers it nicely and resets the double tap shield again.
Yeah, just plot armor not helping Apple this time when you're caught mid-jump and your aim gets all messed up, but Tech could still end up at A, and you never know what Lucas can accomplish, but the Cypher Cam will spot him at B nonetheless.
Whoa.
And kill contract. There is Woot against Howdong, and steady. Woot with 3 this round. And allows Heretics to just extend this and to bring as many rifles as they can into the next. Because of that, of course, lurk from Lucas. That was from B mid to all the way to C. Hope to get the spike down as quickly as possible.
Benji's watching this, and Lucas has to make a play, and he does. Ooh. That's pretty pivotal. This makes this round, I mean, I hate to say the word winnable because it's still a 4v2, but it allows Lucas to go a bit rogue. And if he finds another isolated win, maybe there starts to become something of a chance because the Hunter's Fury will then be earned.
He's so aggressive and maybe needs to come back and help his breach, and he gets caught extending way too far out of sight. And now this is really cooked this round for Coco unless he gets fun timing on the flank, but he's kind of loud with it. Now hearing members on the spike and on the other side of the site, and the defuse is going to be held, and Heretics go to 3.
Yep, and I get it there in terms of what the opening setup is for Titan. You're trying to kind of make some noise, create some distraction at mid, because you're choosing not to play through A long off the get-go when the barriers drop, but you get caught, and that first blood just completely foils how that playbook was trying to be built up to, you know, kind of stretch the defense out a little bit more. If, you know, again, if you're going to keep throwing 3 members at A long, talking about Heretics defensively, Tech are saying, all right, we'll try to put a little bit of pressure on other parts of the map. And again, make some tough decisions have to be considered for Heretics. But when you lose that first blood battle at mid, that makes life very easy for Heretics to follow up. And yeah, maybe there would have been a chance there if Lucas wins another 1v1 and gets a Hunter's Fury off that 2v5, but it would have been a stretch regardless. And here we go. Again, that utility battle. Recon bolt deep up towards A. Luke already into sewer, and you have a direct cover for the offense, blocking off that pit play. So again, Tech really putting a lot of resource management into making sure they're keeping the focus for Heretics a little bit further back on the A site.
And T-Virus being much of a distraction as he can. A lot of util being thrown his way on top of the paranoia, and he's about to get chased down, and he'll keep Heretics busy while the rest of Tech make headway towards planting at B. Now the breach towards the right side.
Yeah, Lucas.
But now it's just Boo that is a threat. Both Boo and Mini Boo get things done for Heretics.
Yeah, that's just one of those situations again that, you know, Lucas is trying to kill as much time as possible over on A. You saw Lucas never bought a weapon. He's thinking post-plant, I can just have the Hunter's Fury. And T-Virus, who does break the shield on a Woot, if he would have found one elimination, that may have changed things in terms of how Heretics continue to play that, you know, not retake through A long, but to continue to play to isolate at A long. That now gives an extra tool for the post-plant for Lucas, but not being able to find a kill, and more importantly, being taken down quickly, allows Heretics to deter any really kind of crazy post-plant setup. So good stuff happening here for Heretics, and the war just keeps raging on over at A long.
Just feeling more and more one-sided in Heretics' way, especially after that flawless, and they could just grow their economy more with the win streak that grows, and how hyped they're getting. They're just screaming over every kill, every round, and it's that type of positivity that's just going to help you play better and play more confident, that's what it's all about for VALORANT, especially for these retakes. Surrounding and conquering Tech at B was really pivotal.
Yeah, and look, I think the thing too here is the map only gets worse for Tech as they swap sides. 70% win rate throughout the calendar year right now is Team Heretics on this composition. So that sucks if you're trying to play up against it. But coming off this timeout, I think the discussion needs to be like, hey, we're not doing a terrible job of stretching the defense out. We're not maybe winning the battles that we need to be winning over at A. but we're at least putting the right amount of pressure on. So now it looks like coming off the timeout with, again, a Hunter's Fury in the back pocket, looking largely to see if they can find an early creation for a potential at C long. They know that, largely speaking, Benji's been here by himself, so trying to find an advantage there as the Owl Drone is early spent and early taken down. And look at the stun. Again, Heretics quickly onto site, trying to contest.
I was going to say the post play would have been strong, but the Hunter's Fury is brought out early to just help support T-Virus as best as you can. It gets Heretics scrambling, but they fight back with their own paranoia. The Heretics are just shooting so well. And Tech, the numbers seemed even. And going blow for blow, it's now a 2 versus 2, and Lucas tries to carve through the left side, but with Boo standing in his path, won't be dissuaded by the Yoru clone, and it's Lucas that clutches.
It's a hell of a hold from Tech on the site. Hunter's Fury was perfectly utilized by Lucas. As soon as you get T-Virus up on top of the box at C, yes, him getting the opening is great, but more importantly, you get the ping. You push off another defender on the crossfire. Miniboo does what he can to stop the play on the site, but everything that unfolds in that choke point is not nasty enough to stop Titan from getting on. And then eventually, again, you kind of see the separation of space here. Once you know there's a player backside site, Lucas deals with the player off the cross on Garage, and then, yeah, a quick finish. As you also saw Haodong just trying to put a little pressure on the opposite side of the map as we get quickly into an A hit, at least towards long.
Haodong is going to keep it,
Unreal.
but could not sneak up on Boo. One Omen still remains in the paranoia throne, just in case Tech were hoping to follow up with their Omen. See, the orb is grabbed, and another decision will be made from Tech as the Abo is gone too. So this round's not looking too good for Tech.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Titan back off of this and see if they can get the C-long orb for Coco. But Neural Theft will be spent. That will reveal, of course, that everyone is still playing up towards A, which is enough for Miniboo to step up with the operator and make sure there is no exit, forcing Tech to have to commit onto A.
Now Tech have to watch their back, and big info advantage for Heretics. Numbers too. Let's see what Miniboo can cook with the op, and he's not even gonna get out of that small room, hoping to escape through the window, and he doesn't even has to teleport still, so Tech chasing it down. Second one for Miniboo. It's hunting season, but Coco cracks him like an egg. So the op is dropped in Coco in a 1 versus 4.
He does have the Rolling Thunder, but not likely you'd assume he pulls that here unless he gets a couple of kills randomly, which almost had a chance at re-ends. Shock Dart will land to chunk out some of the damage from Shield. Benji drops, and then over the top Woot finishes things off. So 5-2 the count, and another moment where it's just, you see how it's supposed to develop. You're trying to put very aggressive pressure down A-long, see if maybe Haodong can sneak behind from the shadows, but it gets picked up beautifully at topside heaven. As this hit through sewer starts to develop, maybe a little bit slower than you'd expect. And then, yeah, just do not allow an exit to happen. Miniboo connects and puts the round well and truly out of question.
Yeah, Heretics take all the right steps initially and even have just great reactions to what Tech throw at them, whether it's the Omen ult, as you pointed out, or just the Neural Theft was such a huge advantage for Heretics as the mid-rounding came in from Tech. Now the knives are out for Lucas, or
Interesting.
Luke.
Hold on, this is an interesting crossfire. We haven't seen this yet from Heretics, and it works out beautifully. Absolutely beautiful.
Spike down A.
Once again, Heretics cooking things up with these first bloods, and Tech keep having to pull a rabbit out of their hat to salvage these rounds. And with the spike being down, Heretics are gonna drone and still see that it's down. A paranoia, the aftershock to try and buy some space for Coco. You have the spike, but not much hope for this round.
No, not at all. Again, just for what it's worth, you're dealing with limited purchase anyways in the round for Titan on a broken economy, but still, we talked about this a little bit in the early stages of the Icebox defense for Team Heretics. It's showing up here again on Haven, just small variations to their defensive play, in particular at A-long. This time, they don't throw all of that same kind of burst of utility. Some of that has to do with the fact that the operator's in hand for Mini, so you can just hold a hard scope angle, and that gives you a natural advantage, especially if he's going to keep connecting like he has. But you play inside of a more passive dark cover at A-long, you play in that dark corner over towards bricks, and that little crossfire has not been seen yet by Titan. They don't expect it, and they get punished really quickly for it.
Now the spike soon, maybe giving that to Lucas would have been nice, but he's off on an adventure again, and Boo's looking for the ace, and he gets it! and scares the heck out of Tech going forward, tripling their score.
Yeah, that's big. 6-2 now the count, and things start to become a little bit dire for Titan. You do have a Rolling Thunder and a lockdown here in this upcoming round with not a lot to counter that unless Riyadh finds a pick to get the Hunter's Fury. So advantage in this round, and let's just call it what it is. It's a must-win round here for Titan. But in that last round with the knives looking with the kill potential, you're sitting here and you're hoping that you can kind of catch off that TH defense at a long with a quick burst play. It doesn't work out again with a different setup. So nothing, again, in terms of how Tech are trying to counter what Heretics are doing has really worked to this point. So this round has to provide something to start changing the pattern, because right now Heretics are well and truly comfortable.
Yeah, Luke is separating away from the flock to put it on himself to be the big playmaker. Just joining now the team, and it's another first blood going Heretics' way. And now they'll be able to pinch into Tech, who find themselves within C, trying to Rolling Thunder through the front side. Tech playing front-facing, but not getting anything.
This is tough because you know C-Long is not in your hands, so you have to play up through Garage, which you also have not really fully cleared out yet. This is, again, a little shaky in terms of the ground that Tech are playing the post plant off of, but you do have a lurk starting to develop here, at least for a moment. Abo does get taken down. T-Virus is low, tries to catch Riyadh with the bow out, and will. So now the only play available for Heretics is to try to hit this back from C-Long.
Ooh, could be fun timing from Coco. And yes, the double kill to convert. But Boo from an ace to an 1v1. But T-Virus is so low, the spike's gonna get tapped. And T-Virus doesn't finish off the job, and it's halfway and not enough. And T-Virus saves it for Tech.
Yeah, great round for Titan. In particular, you also do it by really only having to spend the Rolling Thunder after the dash comes through for T-Virus. So you still have a lockdown available now, which is going to be counterable with the Hunter's Fury if that's the way Riyadh wants to use it. But initially, you start to look at how this sets up with the Op and Cypher walkdown. You're thinking, uh-oh, this design play towards C has now become super difficult with C-Long no longer being there for your post plant. But the most important elimination for me in that round is taking care of Woot on that corner by the defender spawn towards C entry. Allows Tech to find a little bit more footing and a little bit more real estate. Early Hunter's Fury. That's over towards the backside of C-Long, and it connects for a first blood. Virus is in trouble. He'll drop the Benji. And Tech have seen this opening execute go completely wrong.
It's not the first time or the last time Riyadh is just going to open up the round with these Hunter's Fury, and just a beautiful part of the map to do it at. Just a tight choke point. And you saw T-Virus just trying to dash past it, and not much you could do when you're separated away and isolated from the team. So just been Heretics outplaying them. So many first bloods back to back. I don't want to call it too early. It's just giving sunset vibes.
Well, the thing is, like, the decision making is fine. It's just the execution's being met with just too much resistance. Heretics are not foiling at all on their setups. I mean, again, it kind of starts, you know, to kind of give a bit of a synopsis to how this map had gone in the first quarter of it. It's that battle towards A-Long, and, you know, I don't want to say that Titan gave up on it too soon, but they kind of did. And when you deal with an ISO that has the ability to kind of freely roam as they see fit, it just makes that agent that much more potent with the ability to throw things out like contingency and walls and things of the nature, like right here. Abo's suppressed. Coco's weak, trying to get into sight. Sound trigger on the cyber cage. Lockdown's here, but honestly, for Heretics, they just don't give a toot. They don't care about that lockdown, and it's just too simple.
Things got hectic at the end, especially just coming through Garage and just screaming at each other on the other side of the post. So Tech are going to do their best, but I just feel like Heretics have a better clutch factor right now, with people able to put up these multi-kills and really muscle these rounds together. And it's not that Tech aren't trying, like they have Lucas adventuring around, but it's solo efforts.
And I think the thing is, kind of going back to what we said in Icebox and where Heretics had found success on defense, is they're able to commit another member into sight. They're not allowing even post-plant setups to come through at all. Like outside of the first full purchase that Tech had plus the follow-up, they haven't even gotten a spike plant. So, you know, Heretics are just able to reinforce the site so damn well. And a lot of that is off of the early success they found in some first blood battles, but more importantly, it's just off of the fact that they're not being tested across the map. And finally, we get something for Titan to write home about, a first blood when this eco round that allows an outlaw to be picked up for Luke, but even that's not going to feel like it's win condition, so you got to find more than just that one.
Right there.
Well, at least the aim was tested. Such a great shot from Haodong before Miniboo could even teleport out, but all that map control you're giving the Heretics. They're starting to take advantage of.
Contingency.
And Lucas just can't keep up. Neural Theft should be sealing this round for Heretics, and that'll be 8-3.
That's just too easy, honestly speaking. But again, it's just down to the simple fact that it's a, you know, quick purchase round. Pardon you, I said contingency on that undercut. And I think the thing too is, like, again, time has run out on this half here for Titan. Obviously, that's easy to call.
They're doing the same.
That's some couch level color commentary for you. But I think the thing too is just when you start to like build a game plan like off of that timeout where it's just like, we're not finding success at A long. Do we just abandon that and try for something else? And you don't find success there either. You just kind of lose all grip of what's happening on the map. And outside of first blood engagements, you also have just had, simply put, Heretics looking super resistant to anything and everything that Titan have thrown. Just kind of as an example point, you see Titan try to play for a quick burst play onto A. 2-2 split from Sewer and Long. Plus, you get a teleport from the shadows up top at Heaven. And all of that gets met with resistance. It gets dealt with quickly. Similar situation in terms of trying to set something up with a little bit of a split hit over towards C using Garage, but you lose your one defender, or offensive player rather, on a post-plant defense that's supposed to be set for C long. That changes things completely. So it's just all the things that Titan are trying to develop and design are just being flat out beat. And that just goes to the credit of Heretics being excellent at this map first and foremost, but they're also just controlling the map so darn well. Like if you were to have a heat map of where Heretics have played this map, it's been at or beyond the choke points that you find on the extremities of the map, and that's just not great news.
Just the way that Heretics are playing, you can tell this is their comfort pick. You can tell that this is their playground, and I mean, it's also just not been a good map for Tech in terms of just the fragging department. Like Haodong and Abo, especially 4 kills each. I mean, Abo had more kills in the Icebox first pistol round than he has in 11 rounds.
Yeah.
So sometimes it just comes down to being able to out-frag and thrive in that chaos, which Heretics have really locked down on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a must-win pistol coming up for Tech.
Absolutely it is. Yeah, absolutely it is. Because otherwise you're looking at the decision, do we force buy the rest of the way through, and that just never feels good. So if you have not been actively tuning into our fun little production here on the alt stream, get used to seeing that little lower third. We've had a lot of that today.
Hey, but the last time this happened, Titans won the map.
If you want, yeah, let's just try to manifest that storyline into play. We saw it with Sentinels. They were even tweeting just like the tech pause Reapers. But a tech pause for Tech is on brand? Question mark?
Yeah. Sometimes the PCs need a break too, huh? Think about the AI or whatever.
You know, they've had plenty of a break to this point. I'm not giving them that forgiveness. Built to last.
And excited for what the schedule's gonna look like tomorrow. What matches do we have?
I don't know.
We have time to pull up
We do have time to pull things up.
our websites and whatnot.
Should start with KC Billy or DRX Sentinels. Those are the two options to kind of get things kicked off. That'll happen.
So yeah, the big deciders, whatever about the order, but KC, BLG, DRX, Sen,
Rex
whoever
versus
wins
the winner
this,
of this,
RRQ,
and then Gen G Edward, which is another rematch down there too. The only unique map that we have, or matchup that we have, well, is the first two. It's KC Billy and then DRX Sentinels.
Ooh, that Gen G EDG rematch when Gen G beat EDG 13-4.
And I don't know, like EDG did not, like I know they beat 100 Thieves today in 3. But that third map started to get a little bit too close for comfort. I mean, what, 13-10, I think, and a little bit of a comeback effort when it was like 11 or 12 to 5. So 100 Thieves really testing EDG, one of China's best.
I just noticed Titan all have matching shoes.
Yeah, they got the Panda Dunks.
Oh, that's cool. Wait, maybe?
Yeah, they do. They all got
Or
it.
no, I was looking at Heretics.
Oh, no, they're just vibing with what, well, maybe.
It's giving all same black shoe.
That's fair.
Are we getting our
Respect it.
cameraman to Panda? But they're working hard too. They constantly have to stand there and wait too. So I love that esports has gone from not just jerseys to now you got different fashion fits, different types of jerseys to now the pants and the shoes are matching.
I'm gonna say it though. and this might just hit all the NA sneakerheads that are out there. Panda Dunks are one of the most overrated shoes.
Oh no, you're in your
Nike
hater
puts
era
out.
today.
I am a little bit on the salt train right now.
I could use some salt, like food-wise. Kind of got my cravings. I've been casting 2 BO3s
Yeah,
back to
you've been in
back.
the blender out here. I mean,
My noodles are cold, but sometimes noodles are good cold.
that's fair.
You know what's not good cold? Hands.
That's true.
You don't want to get your hands cold. That's why those hand warmers are there. But also these breaks are.
This has been bad. This tests you on a different mental level.
I like the shoes of our cameramen too.
This is where we're at, fam.
There's like blue sneakers. I like it.
Those blue sneaks are pretty tight. New Balances, love them. But how are you guys doing out there in Chatland?
Chatland.
Finesse, how are you doing, bud? I know Finesse is probably still watching. He's been up since like 5 in the morning. That guy is grinding. Good for him. You know what? Good for you.
You know what?
Good for you, Finesse.
Get that back, King.
We love you. We miss you.
Let's see what time it is on the west coast of the U.S. It is 9 a.m. Good morning.
Oish.
East Coast, noon. Happy lunch. Giving you more time to go warm that thing back
A
up.
little afternoon delight.
Be
Wow.
delighted to see.
Oh, let's do this.
Oh,
Teams that are still available and around. Let's just go through it.
okay.
KC, Billy, who gets out of Group A with Paper X?
I mean, do you want me to be controversial and bold?
I want you to be who you are.
I mean, BLG obviously make it out.
Obviously, it's kind of crazy. Not really.
I mean-
actually. That should be pretty straightforward, I think. That's where you're going. What? You're going BLG? You're going Billy?
Yeah, Casey, I mean, I think looked good against G2, but that's a nerf G2.
Yeah.
So,
Did
are you on the same wavelength?
Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength.
cool.
I think Billy get out of that.
I like to be
Does
bold,
that-
but not that bold.
Does that match what your predictions were for Group A in terms of who gets out at the beginning of the event? Did you have those too? Because I personally,
Maybe, I mean, we all thought G2 before.
before that,
Leaf happened,
even with the coach situation though, I still thought G2 was going to get out.
Oh, yeah, you did think they could 4v5.
Yeah, I
quote
had them as my 8th in the power rankings.
Look, Group B, I didn't really know.
Group B was kind of a hodgepodge. I mean, I think everyone was expecting Sentinels, but then afterwards, like BBL DRX, I thought was going to be kind of a absolute even match, like kind of a headbutt match. But honestly, seeing how Sentinels have played so far and how they struggle a little bit versus XLG, and DRX looked really good versus XLG, like talking about like common opponent litmus test.
Yeah.
That one's going to be saucy. I didn't expect, like, I think for me, I had Sentinels and DRX exiting, but that was before they announced Flicker was playing instead of Estrella. But I think Flicker's looked really good. That's an absolute upgrade for DRX. I think BBL has really impressed, but I think, you know, my predictions initially were that Sentinels and DRX would get out. So I'm going to stick with who I had winning that group initially. I think Sentinels win that matchup.
Ooh, I love seeing headsets on. I also love to see who would come out of this group. It's NRG, RRQ, Heretics, Titan, where RRQ faces the winner of this. And, I mean, they would look forward to seeing Tech again when they beat them down 13-6. So
I don't think RRQ would be upset at either of these two teams. Excuse me. I think RRQ looks pretty darn good this weekend. I keep feeling that's so weird. To not have
weekend, I know. Esports is so weekend.
Yeah.
Based. Fnatic, EDG, Gen G, 100 Thieves. I mean, I think everyone was.
I think everyone had
their
Fnatic
concerns.
out. Yeah. Who do you have between Gen G and EDG? You favor the Gen G edge that they were able to already show us, or do you think
Gen G looked really good against EDG?
Yeah, they did.
I thought EDG was going to be China's strongest hope, and well, the 100 Thieves win is cool, but it went to 3, and 100 Thieves.
They were right there, man. They almost surprised Fnatic. I mean, everyone looked at what Group D was going to be. It was going to be the group of death. Do you think it lived up to that expectation? Do you think Group D ended up being the group of death? You're so literal.
Hey, I think it was cool to see Fnatic just kind of play that close to 100 Thieves, and feels like they have a lot of expectations on them to go on and win the event. And Paper X having a good time too on their end.
I would pay, well, I was going to say an ungodly amount, but not actually. I'd pay a minimal amount of money to see a rematch between Fnatic and Paper X here.
Like $3?
Yeah, probably $3.
I'm excited for the opening ceremony. We got
Posty.
Posty.
Man, we didn't even get tickets for that.
I think we could sneak in. We could look official.
Fair. Well,
let's go and try and steal tickets. We're going to go and throw it to a quick break. When we get back, we're going to have audio.
never meant to stay. It was you that put me in. Promised me that we'd be okay. All of your lies I was believing. You were there most of the time, but that was never good enough for me. Had me going out of my mind, had me going round like crazy. But I gotta end this way. Why is there always a struggle for you to let me go? You got me like crazy. Like you were always right and I was
much for bearing with us, y'all. Happy lunch. You are now part of the elite club of Valorant lovers.
That's a
if
vine
you
right there.
have stuck through one of the longest series of all time, but it's going to build up to a giga banger, I think we're going to map 3.
We're going map 3. I didn't like unless the side swap really.
I'm trying to reverse cursor, you know.
Yeah, unless Titan like come back in, win this 4th, and then just win the pistol and dominate. Stop it, dude.
Tell me your favorite sound. Don't say Valorant.
Favorite like sound in the world?
Like, what would make you happy right now to hear? Like, I love birds.
Do you have any particular bird sound that you enjoy?
The ones that don't wake me up in the morning, but
That's
like.
tough. That's a lot of them.
I know. They do be yapping.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if I have a favorite sound. I am a huge fan of the smell of fresh cut grass.
That's the most dad thing you've ever said.
It's pretty dad-like. It's actually really funny because you know how like there's like a joke, running joke, like after you turn 30, you pick up one of 3 things. You either have a fascinating like itch for like gardening or lawn care, you start smoking meats, or you start playing golf.
Baking goes kind of crazy.
Baking's a good one. I think you could sub out smoking meats for baking if you're
Yeah.
you know.
In my house, you're not allowed to cook like really good smelling food, especially bacon, if I'm casting. If I smell food while I'm casting, I will crash out. Because, like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's enjoying food. And I enjoy my job. I love my job. But, man, food is up there for another favorite.
Big fan of food. Big fan of food.
What's your favorite food of all time?
Big chicken parm fan, honestly.
Oh, yeah, we did talk about food
it doesn't miss. Like, you have to make a really bad chicken parm for it to be really bad. Like,
because you have to mess up the tomato sauce, because that can be kind of easy to do.
That, or like, you know, like the chicken parm from like a Sbarro or something like that. You know, where it's just like not chicken and it's like overbreaded and like deep fried, like pass.
What's the best food to have as a leftover?
Pizza.
That's kind of true. Once I discovered air fryers, it was kind of over.
That's facts, dude. Reheating pizza in the air fryer is a cheat.
Yeah.
Cheat code.
I had to kind of suffer through a microwave through many years until technology.
Caught up to your wants and needs.
Yeah, it's like 2020, whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
Supposed to have flying ships, and I was still using a microwave.
I mean, technically, we've had flying ships since like the 1920s when we invented the airplane, but.
Yeah. That's like a luxury thing. They have not made getting a plane very cheap.
I want to hit FNS's watch party with some trivia. I want to see if anyone knows this. What year was the Orville brothers' first flight? I don't know off the top of my head, but I think it's like 1908.
Oh my God.
Are we playing Valorant?
Holy cow, guys. There's some Valorant for at least this round.
I'm here for that.
Last round of the half, by the way, so at least we'll have the halftime. Make sure the fires are out, but Team Irish trying to start some fire over at B, and you just can't win that against Boo. Love to see that Boo was having such a good game, from, of course, the ace to having that opening first blood for Team Heretics.
This Hunter's Fury is in a really weird spot. You're going to have an opportunity here to get back in if your Team Heretics. How long backside gong is good. There's the kill contract being spent forward. And Miniboo just saying, hey, how are you? Abo gets pulled into the kill contract. Spike does not end up getting into play. And it's going to be just down to Lucas. It's a cheeky idea for Tech trying to find something new and fresh. But it does not work. 9-3. Any cursors in chat?
I love to hear Heretics just get the energy going back again. I don't think the tech issue was on their side, so they're just happy to be here and maybe get some dinner afterwards. 9-3 half in favor of Heretics. A lot of curses going on, but is the 9-3 curse real?
Yep. Well, let's give you the spark notes because it's been an hour since we saw Valorant. That flat out is Titan just trying to counter what they're reading from Heretics. Their reads were not poor. Just the execution could not quite get over the threshold that it needed to. You know, kind of the level of the same thing that Heretics were trying to do on Icebox. You had a situation there where Titan were doing everything they needed to respond what Heretics were throwing their way. Kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of another, or shoes on the opposite table, which has turned. something of that nature, depending on which cliche and phrase you prefer. But that, again, I'm not upset. I think about how Titan played the half in terms of their adjustments from like a gameplay standpoint or game plan standpoint, but Heretics are just so damn good at this map. Like they're like no one's really beaten them on this map this year, except for like a very early iteration of EMEA Stage 1. It was like a 13-10 or something with like against Foot.
Yeah, like Tech won their map pick of Icebox, but the lead changes changed as much as my socks do. Like it was just, you didn't know who was going to come out of that Icebox. So Tech happy with that one, but this is the best Heretics map. This is their playground, and it's obviously showing.
Yeah, this feels, again, like we set up this best of 3. We said that Titan had to win map number 1 on Icebox just due to the fact that this has been such a strong map for Heretics. The follow-up on Sunset is another one of those that you look at and say Heretics have some favorite built into the recency bias, but Titan did play this map yesterday, and they would have had time to go back and kind of get themselves polished up on what went wrong. So we'll see, as it looks pretty inevitable that we are about to very quickly get to that map 3 affair.
Important pistol. Heretics took the first one. Both teams exchanged pistols on Icebox. And if Tech want a chance to somehow pull a sweep together, which would be very unexpected, it would take a must-win pistol here.
Yeah, I won't say it starts and ends with the pistol, but it definitely starts with it.
Yeah.
And the problem here, again, is like playing up against ISO Yoru can be very, very difficult just in terms of how you slow down the pace and tempo of when the hit does develop, which at the moment is looking like it's going to go for an initial poke at B. Crossfire set up on the way, and actually T-Fire is just spamming through the smoke. That'll work out. Double tap comes in late, and it gets broken. Ooh. So nice stuff there from Luke.
Who needs 2 duelists when you just got one really good one? Big double kill for Tech, but Boo still will break in. But now that you got all the attention of Tech, Heretics are going to pivot to one of the many sites here on Haven.
Yeah. Just difficult to know with any sort of confidence where you want to head towards. The spy cam being behind a lobby will have them leaning over for an initial look at A. I say initial, it's going to be a last-second look at A. And it looks like Titan are going to play for the retake, so 3v4 situation, not unwinnable here for Heretics. This comes down to, at what point does Lucas get into the top side of Heaven, and can he get a read on where the post plant would be set up at? Can you tally the information? These are not comfortable peaks, but he does have a recon bolt and a shock dart, which could make things very difficult. You hear it again, bow down low. Benji going to be flooded, and that'll work out for another follow-up. Tech looking good, and they will follow things up nicely with a Lucas double kill.
What a flood-in from Tech, and Lucas, the shots are looking clean, has not slowed down, has not missed a beat. And Tech, don't call it a comeback yet, but this is going to help things, especially their chances of trying to claw their way back. And he really iced out Heretics with all the pauses, so the plot armor has been real from the side of Tech. I mean, I remember even at point Abo took a judge to the chest and lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, true.
So.
I will say as well, just kind of who do you want to look out for in terms of this second half for Titan? I'm really keeping my eyes on Abo, who's going to have to juggle a lot, especially if they find themselves as the solo island defender against the double duelist, which gets a pretty guaranteed walk down with things like contingency double tap and Yoru flashes. So Abo is the player for me to watch, who's been so good for Titan, having a bit of a slower start here. Many will be able to find first blood. That's in the backside of B, so that opens up a different route here for Heretics on what is just the solo Sheriff and Classics.
Does bode well for Heretics. Now bringing pistols to C long. It's going to be pinged by the turret. So a lot of talking that you can do with Heretics, and not having any Sova util is not going to help, but flashes from Mini Boo is the only saving grace that they would have. And Abo could have some good timing here. He is smoked off, but we get a good backstab going.
Yeah, this is about delaying the hit on C and then hoping you can get this long rotation from Lucas into play, and Abo actually commits to trying to break the timing of the execute as soon as that nanoswarm is about to expire. Only finds one. That is not enough, especially as Benji uses that as a way to upgrade to a Spectre. So this long play through the backside at C has to find value. And Boo has tucked himself into a corner. Good opening shot from Virus, though. Pulls the attention of Heretics back towards the front side of the site, and that's enough for Howdong to follow up.
Such a good day for T-Virus. I think Abo could have been even more patient. And Woot, last one that remains between everyone of Tech that take care of business quickly in the anti-eco that brings 3 weapons into the bonus, including an outlaw that has been very strong in the hands of this deadly duelist.
Yeah. And allowing the defuse to go to Luke, gets him 2 off of early knives after the hot start, after the pistol and the follow-up. So Titan do what's required. Find the pistol on the anti-eco. How do you start to structure up winning a bonus where, again, off the defensive side, the ability to purchase on the 2 players that had previously dropped is minimal. In fact, it looks like it's just going to be a Sheriff that's being purchased for now, as Abo, of course, has to invest into their utility to stay a little bit more potent and a little bit more stalwart onto whatever site they decide to play on. And Tech are going to see if they can find some sort of an opening pick here with a quick flash play over to a long. Works! That's beautiful for Luke.
He just does it again. And this is the version of T-Virus Luke that I wish we saw yesterday. Now it puts you in an elimination match, but one last chance, and Tech are in full swing and full motion, because a lot of the first bloods, I feel like in the first half, went Heretics' way, and we'll see. We'll break down the stats later on, of course, but Tech are willing to swing into existence if they can, and Heretics just can't withstand.
Unbelievable resiliency here from Titan, and again, it starts with that double tap over towards A. You get that first blood, it allows you to stack up somewhere else, and that place is here at Garage with an SMG, a little bit of team fire coming through off the connector. You now have a 5v3, and honestly, the options here for Heretics are limited to largely either a rogue play from Boo or trying to force something into B where you don't really have good clearance utility. And as I start to break it down, Boo does drop, and the door has largely shut here on Heretics. Huge opportunity here for the bonus to come through and Titan to bring this game back to tight.
Right here.
Saving the 2 rifles is
30
going to be good for Heretics, but this will be 3 rounds in a row for Tech, and the eco that gets ever so larger. Knives going into the next, and buy-ups coming up too. Great second half for Tech, and Heretics got to bring back that energy.
10 seconds left.
So now all of a sudden, you know, for Titan Esports, you're looking at, obviously, the perfect start defensively. But can you start to establish pattern and trend changing that makes Heretics uneasy with this double duelist, where you have to essentially hard execute the first time you try to execute, dump tons of utility, overwhelm the corners that Luke is trying to play with these opening first bloods if he continues to try to get things like a sniper rifle into play. It won't happen here with the purchase of, you know, a rifle. But if he were to go to an operator later on, like, it's just going to have to be Heretics. It feels like this upcoming round needs to establish their own tempo, and it needs to establish that the burst of this composition is something that Titan need to put a response to as they're in full purchase.
The streak could continue for Tech with a mixed buy situation, 2 pistols out of Heretics. And using the ISO wall to just lead in, follow up with Boo, who's going to have to hold it down, and he clutches and holds it solo, and now Heretics can stack onto the site, and Coco is being proactive.
Wow.
He gets his one. And Heretics with a clean round despite not having everyone with rifles.
Yeah, initially the spam that comes through the choke point at C from Titan looked like it was going to be enough to kind of stop the play as the double tap. I don't know if it still stayed integral on that next kind of play, but Woot didn't look all that comfortable coming on the site. But the thing about it is you had everyone else, in particular Boo, who teleports to the top side of the box, kind of making up for not having that jet. You play with the elevation, and Boo just finesses the dark cover to keep himself safe, the paranoid to help his teammates get back on the secondary engagement on the site, and then you follow up to put pressure onto Coco, who's the last contestant of the back part of the on the spike site. So good stuff there for Heretics. That puts them well within control again, but of course that coming off the bonus win has Titan still in a position to purchase, and in particular the operator is in play, looking to make a play in the sewer.
Dimensional drift almost available for Mini Boo. Lucas has an Odin, and hoping to maybe just spam through, setting up T-Virus, but now has lost control of short. That's going to be the power of the double duelist from Heretics.
Yeah, and I think the other side of this is, you know, the operator being pulled back is not the end of the world for Titan, but it does force them to have to keep a second member here a little while longer as they're trying to feel things out. And you know, the Owl Drone will try to get a look on a kind of a passive starting point towards A long. I don't believe it sees anything. And yeah, this is what Heretics want. They want to keep Tech uneasy on A. And then try to, again, utilize this burst. But Abo through the door gets one. Not enough to stay alive to keep the defense in the advantage, but not a bad 1-for-1, all things told.
Didn't even see each other, and he just sensed it. Violence delivered and exchanged, and Heretics still move on towards A. But it will be T-Virus Luke watching short with the op. Not a way to dash out, but angles being held with Lucas with the Odin at the front with no real way to escape. Because the flashes from Coco will be on their way. It's all timing as Heretics got good pings off the recon and fire at T-Virus. This still get a knife in, a double kill with the Odin through all the chaos of the smokes. Heretics are behind.
There is no way. Your two defenders, a stationary turret in form of the Odin, revealed. T-Virus missing the opening op shot, has to pull the knives, revealed. Dark covers looked perfectly placed from Heretics, but they can't connect. It looked initially on the approach, as soon as you get the Odin reveal, that was going to be enough to kind of spam through the side of the box. I don't know if we catch that in the replay, but no, we don't. He gets down to 26 HP, just doesn't get finished, and somehow, some way, Lucas inside that dark cover finishes with 3. What a heroic play for Titan.
What an incredible talent Lucas is. Turns 18, joins VCT, and young IGL making the whole difference for Tech. A 180 from day one as Heretics want to make a big finish here. And it's that deep into the site. A kill contract will kidnap one. Woot against Coco. And Woot has pretty much, I think, converted every single kill contract.
Yeah, he's been good. I mean, let's be honest. It's tough to beat an ISO at that type of an advantage with a shield in play. But he has been solid, and Heretics not going to allow that little moment of euphoria for Titan to last all that long. Unless. No.
I was like, wait, how is he moving and aiming when one of his... How many hands does Haodong have? But that's... But Haodong will just keep the gun, especially at 0 credits.
Yeah, it should be enough still for Titan to purchase. Haodong was the only one who was really in some trouble financially, so smart save. Obviously, you don't assume that a 1v4 post plan he's going to give much of an effort to it. So let's tally the resources here.
Okay.
As you've got Hunter's Fury online for Lucas. Nothing else tremendously close upcoming for the next round, but Abo is not out of the picture of potentially earning a late lockdown if that comes through. Rien's Hunter's Fury on the other side. And that's really about it, because the kill contract, the Dimensional Urge had been used in the prior round. So Titan Esports likely the timeout here, just to kind of discuss what we want to do, you know, with that initial tool and maybe what we want to do with the defense. Because so far, you know, the two convincing rounds for Heretics on the offense have come by way of throw out a contingency, throw out an undercut, hit the double tap, run through C-Long, get onto site, plant, profit. So there's a level of Titan. You have to consider that as they go forward, especially seeing as they really haven't been met with much early aggression over towards A-Long. I wouldn't be surprised to see them do something like throw an early Owl Drone down C-Long and see if you can get someone to walk down C-Long and take that space away if it's open. Might be an opportunity to, again, just kind of change up your defensive look, as C has been really the only linchpin for success right now for Heretics. See if you can maybe funnel them back towards Garage or in towards B. We'll see.
And Tech are 4-2 in the second half, and as much as it looked kind of cool winning the pistol, getting momentum, even converting the bonus, Heretics are always trading rounds. And because of all the work they did in that 9-3 half for Heretics, it's still giving Sunset.
Yeah.
As long as they keep trading rounds, that's all you need.
That's true. But this is the game right here, I think, in my mind. And Titan will not show any sort of immediate force down either extremity, actually. From the shadows, we've seen Boo stick this before. This time not going to happen. But that little bit of a hit towards Heaven, plus the decoy maybe has Tech leaning a little bit towards A, but here comes that walk down. Nanostorm placed on the corner will slow this up just a touch. Hunter's Fury for the offense, trying to cut this back. Also the reset coming through for the defense.
Ooh, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a Hunter's Fury perhaps, and good suppression from Tech, but the numbers in Heretics' favor, but Howdong with the big double could convert this for Tech. And the spike is down, and Riyadh has to reunite with Mini Boos coming through double doors. Droning up to play from safety now.
They know they have spike. That's the big key here. So Heretics have to find a way to sneak on into sight. Good reveal into Howdong deep, but the response for Lucas clears the front side of the site. Now it's just down to Riyadh.
Oh, Lucas, he's such a hero when you need him the most for Tech. And luck and main character energy on his side, and Riyadh can't clutch, and Tech live on within now 3 rounds of Heretics.
That was a beautiful small adjustment to how Titan we're going to try to guard on C. You put the Nanostorm a little bit tighter onto the corner. It doesn't block the entirety of the choke point, but it does stop the offense from getting over towards Garage Link. But more importantly, it's Lucas who waits and responds as soon as Heretics pop their Hunter's Fury. And maybe he didn't find any eliminations, but I'll tell you what, that thing packed a hell of a punch. Connected onto a couple of members, had Heretics offensive players on the site extremely weak, making the job of T-Virus that much easier. Knowing that, again, that Nanostorm blocked any pathway for the offense cutting straight to the right, he can keep his eyes up and off to his perspective right, and it works out beautifully as the defense rotates in to deal with it. So great adjustment in the smallest of ways to stop that very aggressive push out of Heretics.
And it's just been the clutch factor yet again. I kind of pointed this out on Icebox, where Titans have had more players with pop-off moments. And having their duelists just showing up on day 2 has been a huge factor to this, especially when, you know, there wasn't a duelist to face off against on Icebox. But Tech having those big pop-off moments. Heretics, of course, had an ace. You can't discount what Boo's been able to do, but this has been a way tougher challenge than Heretics are expecting. Something about Heretics that brings the best out of every opponent they face.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off of that and send it to one level further, this is a team that wins 70% of their offenses. So after coming off of a dominant first defensive half, you're sitting here thinking, okay, let's just start talking about Sunset. But now the map starts to change. Especially with Abo one off of a lockdown. Coco now has a world where he can earn another Rolling Thunder, which could be a huge round-winning ultimate. And if you win this round, if you're Titan, you've broken the bank accounts of Heretics. This is a crucial round in the scheme of things. Howdong staying a little bit longer. Does he step up through the contingency? He does. So this threat at B has been dealt with. And look at the difference of the setup. The Nanostorm system now set up largely for Garage with a quick play with the Judge for Abo. Meanwhile, Aldrone's going to find a little bit of intel here with a triple stack of defenders for Titan. They are set up perfectly.
Tech are not taking any risks to peek out against Heretics, but you are giving them some space to get in. A teleport from Mini Boo, but the smoke that came out isolated that duelist. And Tech just held the crossfire. A has been impossible for Heretics to penetrate. And Tech will not allow them to trade them around.
T-Virus has 9 flippin' lives. He has been revealed for 90% of these offensive hits from Heretics. And it doesn't matter. He's still coming away with 2, at least. Unbelievable, because again, it just starts to look like the setup is good for Heretics. You throw a little bit of a flash in, and then you gate crash onto site if you're Mini Boo, but there's a small delay. And I don't know if you caught it, but an aftershock cuts off the choke point. So Heretics can't fully get in, but you have a chance to send a late recon dart into the site, and it does exactly what it's intended to do, but doesn't make a difference. Luke is a cat with 9 lives, and he's used about 7 of them to this point.
My favorite part was the T-Virus smokes. Oh man, how to break apart the Heretics core is everything. And now a first blood for Tech, but it was a save for Heretics. Is it a fake comeback or not? Believers gotta rise up for China. XLG gone, but Tech is still here.
The only thing you gotta keep your eye on right now is, can there be enough noise created for Mini Boo to actually utilize this position deep over towards Garage? That makes life a little bit easier, because now you know for a fact that Titan's defense is split. Never mind, not anymore, it's not. And if you're Heretics, I think you got to run. You got to burst onto this site knowing that the defense is still a little bit further away, but they're going to take their time. They will get a plant, but Titan will be right behind them trying to play for the 4v3 retake.
At least seeing that drone inspires Heretics pedal to the metal, but no smoke covering heaven.
Yeah.
Gives Tech now the upper hand to get a lockdown and some vision up, and Heretics try to escape.
Yeah, cross your T's, dot your I's here. Don't drop anything here if you're Titan.
Okay, Benji, that was sick, but Tech still had the ults, the weaponry, and carry 3 into the next, so Tech within 1.
That's massive. And I again, it might feel like, you know, throwing a anvil at an already kind of down opponent, but I love the idea of just don't drop anything. Have to convert that round. And so you spend the lockdown, you don't let any crazy sheriff shots defer into a Heretics map point situation, and you're 1 away from a rolling thunder. You're close to re-earning the Hunter's Fury. But this time out, the conversation is multifaceted because now all of a sudden off the save, Heretics have a couple of really key ultimates and of course the full purchase. So a small advantage here in terms of what's available coming into this next offensive round.
Both Heretics timeouts coming out in the last 3 rounds to try and kill this momentum from Tech before Heretics killed out of this group. And it's just not obviously what you expected to happen in this series. I mean, this whole day was giving 4-0, and then we kind of got 6 mappers, or at least what the setup seemed to be after a 9-3 half for Heretics. And this Tech comeback is insane. Their defense on Hay is just so well timed on how they're able to isolate the smokes that are causing a chaos that Heretics can't find themselves out of.
Yeah. What an affair this has been. Because any avid enjoyers of EMEA Valorant would say Heretics up 8-4 at the half. Oh, they win, especially with offense coming up. But Titan is fighting back and fighting back with some major resistance. Double tap's been popped open here for Heretics, trying to get some early aggression through Sewer. How Dong. Oh, he breaks the shield and finds the headshot on top of that. Paranoia to cut off the choke point, and Heretics don't even have a chance to get the kill contract in. And this round may be moot.
How many first bloods from Tech over at this A side? These anchors, just untouchable. You had Coco into the mix. Feels like Heretics have to pivot, but they don't have a lurk. They'd have to re-clear. They'd have to take the time to do so. And Abo is on the flank, but there's trips that'll get in his way. So Heretics have to focus on one thing, and that's to win this round. Work off the info they can, and it's the exchange. But Lucas and Coco do all the work, and it's Boo left to pick up all the pieces and the spike.
Whoa, I don't know if we need that. Yeah, I was gonna say, we got a fault line. I don't think we need to commit the Rolling Thunder for this, but no, it looks like they are gonna just, again, try to get this to an 11-11 count. Boo teleports away safely, wins the first 1v1 with Coco. No, not gonna happen. And it's 11-11, make a wish.
Coco, that was so important. And I wanted him to show up on the breach. When he wasn't as explosive on the Sunset in the BO1, he found the confidence as a younger player, as Tech. Really the puzzle pieces that have built such a strong core against one of EMEA's best, that have the potential to send them out of this bracket. And they're energized 4 in a row. Both Heretics timeouts are out. No more timeouts to figure this out. It's do or die.
Yeah, but you're on a half buy, but Dimensional Drift and kill contract could potentially get yourself an advantage here because Woot has the hero rifle. Has to win the battle though! Oh no! Aba wins the first. Now it's just down to what Heretics can do by flooding onto the site.
Was a 4 versus 4 neural theft for Benji, and the aftershock won't be forcing Heretics back. They're still gonna be at the front. Tech think maybe they have space to play with. Coco fragged up close, and Abo at least trades, and he stepped up to the plate. And up next, it's Benji with the stinger. Rians tries to get the objective done, and Tech are going to allow it.
He's going to get the
Spike
Hunter's Fury
planted.
off that, though, Jen. This could be big if he can get back to C long if he wants to try to play for that as a post-plant security tool.
One enemy
Oh,
remaining.
they were insecure about Garage. A 2 versus 1. Rians backs away. Locus has done it again.
Unbelievable composure from Titan. And it just, honestly, we talked about it. Woot has been so good in the kill contract. Hasn't even looked shaky at any given moment in time. And you get the perfect target. You get the killjoy out of the picture. But then for the first time, it gets windy inside the ethereal battleground. And Abo punishes. Titans stay on site. And now all of a sudden, you've got a chance to close this thing out. You've got knives available. You got full weapon purchase. You've got 3 regenerative armors that you're battling up against. Everything's starting to trend in favor of Titan off of now 5 in a row.
Shakiness in the Heretics camp. It's come down to the wire. These 2v2s, and Woot tries to make the space off the wall. The shock bolts.
Doesn't hit the shield.
Now a Hunter's Fury on the offense. The red carpets laid in blood. It's first blood, but Coco
What?
double kill. What?
Again, revealed and damage. It doesn't make a damn difference. 3v2. They're going to reset. Okay. Have to take a breath here. And the thing about it is you're looking at Booth from the shadows thinking, was there maybe a chance for him to teleport to C? But I don't know if they know that Abo had already gotten onto site at A, so everything has to come to a momentary pause. Cool the jets. Titan going to hold hands through mid. And they may make contact here, Jen.
And it all comes down to this, and Heretics have to lock in, and with at least the power of friendship, they just got to focus on also getting this round and the spike planted. And Howdong and Abo, previous teammates from EDG, on Tech, looking to make the biggest upset at EWC happen. From underdogs to top dogs, it's
30
Tech
seconds left.
on the other side of a smoke.
Dark cover replaced.
On the other side of the odds as well.
Last
As
player
Heretics,
standing.
the spike is dropped.
Spike
It's all
down,
up to
C.
Rians.
Last
Oh,
player
and he gets it.
standing.
Okay, he gets Abo. It's the ultimate showdown. And Howdog, couple seconds left. Around it locks. Heretics, OT.
Wow. What else could you
Switching
possibly
sides.
want out of this map?
Overtime.
And just finally a pop-off moment, and you can just see the sweat off the brow of Team Heretics. A 9-map losing streak on their bread and butter. Have not dropped this map since February. And even that loss was a 13-10. And they've gone through the gauntlet of playing all of Europe's best here on this map. But Titan have something a little bit special. Do what need to be done to get us back to a clean slate here in OT.
Titans were able to play close to EDG at EVO on this map, so this is definitely been the Heretics show when it comes to, like you said, the stats of how well they've done on this map, but this is not how well you do on this map, but how you do and against a completely different environment, against the peaking Titans, but against a Heretics that will not give up.
So now we need to start going back over where the problem spots were for both these two teams, on especially the offensive side. For Titan, not able to execute to the level of what their game plan was starting to amount to. Again, the attempts, the modifications, the adjustments that they were making to try to beat this Heretics defensive setup were not bad. It just came down to they weren't able to find the kills they needed to get over the threshold. A lot of that being resulted into just giving away this A-long setup. And based on where this alarm bot is placed, it looks like Titan are not even going to bother with lobby whatsoever. Maybe just a quick peek towards sewer, but nothing too crazy. Are they going to try to surprise Heretics with just a random burst play towards C? We did not see that much, but that spy cam in the tight corner, the trap wire deep onto site would counteract that pretty darn nicely if this is eventually a burst play onto C.
The walk down from Heretics just to sell that fake gets the attention of Tech, but then that Yoru TP's to the other side of the map to help support, to just be at the ready for the Tech execute.
What does Howdong want to do with his first dark cover? Do you want to try to throw some force over to A long? See if you can move the defense around a touch. Are you going to save everything? Owl drone sent over towards Garage. And towards B main, simultaneously speaking. Nanostorm in the corner. Do they have the idea that someone's playing close and tight on the door? This could be massive. But no, Aba doesn't predict it. Miniboo will have first blood, and that shuts down the play towards Garage. And now all of a sudden, if you're Tech, you kind of have to go back over to A where Boo has been seen.
Stealing sight.
Miniboo just wanted to go for the safer play. I thought he was going to maybe think about flashing out if Tech were going to keep trying to hit B. Now it's a paranoia leading Tech into an A hit. The recon gets the attention of Tech. Heretics have limited info. Tech get deeper into sight. This ISO is everything. Woot with a big double. Riyadh's anchors for Heretics. And it's Lucas against the world. Low HP. A hemorrhaging Heretics that wins it in the end.
The play to the shorty is cojones central. And it nearly works out, but Woot comes up Giga Chad levels. The ISO just resetting the shield, saying so cemented on the site, and clutching up in the final 1v1 where it looked like for a moment Lucas may just get a lineup to win the round right there. Not the play that they wanted to make, but the one they had to, and it nearly works, but Heretics continue to win on defense. And now it just comes down to, can they get away with a burst play of their own again? You know, again, not having ultimates. One of the things that they did find success with in limited purchase and even on one of their full buys was that same kind of setup. Just feel things out early and then burst through C long with the contingency and the double tap shield. But we've also seen Titan modify their Killjoy setup to deal with that same play. So again, it just feels like we're hidden with heavy hands right now.
Absolutely. And it was Heretics just now on defense, and that was at 9-3 half. Definitely the stronger side for them. But not only that, just breaking the 5-round win streak for Tech. Just about that momentum. Be able to cement yourself and stabilize your own team. Now Heretics 1 round away from getting into Sunset. Whether it's a fake comeback or not, Tech really ramped things up towards the end. Holy cow, they've traded round after round for so long.
Left.
Could have just closed it out.
One enemy remaining.
If it wasn't for that last 1v1 to send us into OT.
Here we go. Luke, we've not seen a walk down through grass yet. And he's playing just inside this dark cover. Haven't seen this before.
The both of them!
Virus gets both. That's before you see the double tap come through. Not able to survive through the follow-up, but job done.
No Duelist. The Heretics have any hope after that? And trying to defend B with the limited numbers. How do you pivot out of here when you have to re-clear?
You stay. You've got a spy camp set up to watch Garage. And you've got now 1 off of 100's Fury for re-ends, but you don't have the ability to immediately exit. You need to stay on site here.
That's all they had the option to do.
Here.
Coco's got no fault line yet, but does have both flashes. They're going to wait for that fault line to come through, and if they can combine it with something like a recon dart, it could be massive. Good push out, extends the play, and scales a little bit deeper for this post plant.
Really great effort from Riyadh. And now he's already cleared the left side. And now from main, the Hunter's Fury to surprise.
Doesn't do it.
And the diffuser is killed to deny Tech to go to Sunset.
Attackers win.
Oh my goodness. What a deflating finish for Titan. It looked like they had everything going for them. T-Virus plays in a spot that had not been seen yet, and he picks the perfect time to do it. Getting the opening to Duelist 3v5 situation.
Rivals list, this is kind of an awesome way to end the day.
Yeah, I would say I think so. I mean, the expectations for G2 are dropped because they had to play without Leaf. Really, everyone else who's been eliminated to this point, you know, XLG, same situation, had to play with a coach, and they looked pretty good. Like, Yova looked really solid. And everything else kind of went as expected. So, yeah, in terms of results and eliminations, this would be the biggest one we've had yet.
All right, here we go. Titan Esports Club on the verge of a massive upset. Or is Team Heretics going to show us some recovery here on Sunset? Take it away, guys.
Seeing the Abo deadlock once again. And on defense to kick things off. Kind of when we saw a deadlock on Sunset, I remember just it was when Zekin was in the picture and a Neon for him, and just deadlock can really cut the heel of a Neon. If you throw the barrier behind, you take away his ability to escape, or even just create such good delay. The importance of Abo, can't speak to it enough.
No. And so with the Neon KO Vice, again, the initiation will look a little bit different for Heretics than it will for Titan, but Lucas will drop first blood. Benji Fishy countered by Abo. Lots of action here at mid as Abo's able to find another right click. Riyadh shows himself at tiles, dealt with the wide swing by Coco, and quickly we're into a 4v2 in favor of Titan's defense.
Yeah, Tech could have a good dismantle of one of the parts of Heretics. What a 3-2 split. Now still with the blind available for Boo. Soon the smoke goes out. He's not going to take the risk of swinging out, trying to have some good timing, unless he wants to wrap around, but it's all going to depend on if Abo can stop him in his tracks. Either way, the knife thrown from Woot will limit things for Tech, and the paranoia.
It's unfortunate.
To stop that, Coco goes in. And now maybe just to add a distraction, it's a fake and it's Tech wrapping around, and Tech trying to put a smoke in place. And even with the net, with T-Virus leading in, and it's Boo against the world, and Tech finish off what they started with a pistol going their way.
And I love just the early establishment. And again, I don't want to, sell the farm here in round number 1, but Titan showing that they want to battle at mid. Did not see a lot of that yesterday, especially from their defensive side. So that's something that's already new in terms of what they're trying to put into the picture. And to be fair, Titan just didn't have a chance to play much of their defense because, well, they were down 8-4 at the half. Ended up losing 13-6, only winning the guaranteed gun round in the third of the half, and then a follow-up gun round a couple of rounds later. But they didn't really show the commitment to wanting to contest across multiple areas of the map. So that's already something that at least they're trying to mentally establish through that pistol. One-way smoke plus the Prowler just to check things out over towards A. We'll read a little bit of an establishment of pressure, and that may lead towards Coco rotating over so he can be in range for the fault line.
Tech have won every defensive pistol in this series, so.
That's a shout.
And Heretics just trying to read if there's any kind of trap play and what the setups are going to be around Coco. Tech have been, at least off the pistol, very, very deathball-y as you kind of sort of play in that round. But is that going to be the style they go for? I did notice those initiators playing very tight together in the last Sunset encounter, so Mini Boo taking the wrong angle, and he only just gets sneezed at. The fall line is going to force him back nonetheless, and taking the helm is that KO, and a lot to watch out for. But Heretics doing a death ball of their own, smokes in place, but now trapped in the site. I don't know if that's where they want to be, but a lucky right click from Marians. Or no, it's actually just shots through the smoke, and Tech want to find their way in with a 2-2 split. There's also a lurk from Benji that could be coming up from behind Tech. They got to get the job done soon. And Lucas steadies his aim, and a big double from Haodong. And this flank from the Vice came in too late from Benji. And Heretics about to convert that anti-eco.
Clean. I think the biggest thing here for Titan is how they try to hold on and contest before the spike can fully get planted. More so, it's not that they stop the plant, it's that they stop a post-plant. You don't really get any real deep setups for Heretics behind the site. You can't get back to elbow. You can't get back over to A main. You have to rely on the timing for Benji Fishy, and initially, it did look like he was going to get there right in the nick of time. Problem is, he's got a basic pistol. The only real influence of power came off of the Outlaw play. So Heretics just not having the weaponry to survive through the retake. But this bonus is a little bit lighter here for Titan due to the nature of round 2's anti-eco. So advantage coming back forward here for Heretics.
Sonic Sensor could be big for Abo if Heretics do decide to commit to B. Whoa. Oh my god, you just bring the parade to Mini Boo. Still gets one for his troubles, but
good help.
Now there's, yeah, amazing help from Heretics to punish that Tech Swarm, and like bees, Tech still sting, and Heretics trade every step of the way.
Yeah, that's really good team help from Heretics, because it did look like Mini Boo's timing on that initial peek towards B main was going to get punished. But Titan Esports kind of red dot chasing a little bit on that double chow. Doesn't work out for them. Good supply of support from the cast behind at B main. And the stronger weapons looked like they should win. Lucas will have an isolated 1v1 here around the corner. Clean. Doesn't even take any damage. That's going to be a rifle upgrade if he so chooses, what she does. Haunt to clear up the front. Still has a seize. That will go next. Crossfire setup, though, is potent, and Boo will spam through, find the win, and Heretics are on the board.
Only able to keep those 2 rifles, though. But hey, that null command early. Or sorry, yeah, null command for Woot, always nice. It's been the teamwork. Especially Abo's having a great performance once again. He's been the top fragger, and we tell the story of just the Sentinel being the best player there for Tech and being able to add that stoppage against the Neon of Miniboo, but it's the cast behind Miniboo that makes Heretics such a threatening team.
Well, and that's the other side of it. You know, we've seen a lot of the adjustments on Sentinels in this map because of the presence of Neon go to Cypher, or Vice for that matter, but the Deadlock provides a different level of, I think, offensive consistency for, again, just making that post plant that much stronger. But it does keep you vulnerable on the first half to things like Miniboo being able to run and go as far as he wants, not being tripped up whatsoever. Because the sensors, as much as they obviously can provide a sort of line in the sand, it really doesn't deter a burst play as much as you might figure. So Heretics in this full gun round going to show some presence at mid, toss even an extra smoke that will pull the focus of Titans off of A and back in to make sure mid stays safe as the smoke dissipates. A late barrier match is planted. Over towards B main, no command early earn will be spent over towards market, plus now the fast line to try to get in. Just comes down to Kanabo, hold this crossfire.
Yeah, because that barrier, Heretics can't even play through B main. It's just got to be the front charging in against Tech and the Neon, the breach, it's on the way, and Coco has flashes, but Tech won't be able to prevent the inevitable, and that's the plant. Now the barrier's gone, Heretics can now back play through B main, and the paranoias are huge, but Benji's just better. Playing at a distance, playing safe, and Tech are out of options, out of util, and can't swing together to check both corners. Such a difficult site to retake.
Yeah, and initially, you know, you look at how Titan set themselves up. Paranoia, fast lane, flashpoint all being spent at the same time. You get into the quick play, you deal with the first blood, but honestly, that's just a really impressive off-screen moment from Benji for the 1v2. Deep on the site, an angle that really requires you to have to hit the head. And he does well to convert onto a huge double kill to keep that post plant safe. Back to a save go Titan Esports now with only Annihilation at the ready. Overdrive is close, and a Bucky in play could provide some fun if you get it into a good spot, but Heretics will have the power of the Outlaw against 3 non-armored players of Titan Esports.
Hate to get brothers confused, but it was like one of the boos were really good with the Outlaw and Icebox. It's been their signature. So brothers will have to work together on opposite sides. Now through the A elbow, just the Bucky, which could enable the overdrive. T-Virus gets lucky. Of course, you have a Prowler that could give him a heads up if Lucas gets a sense. And there is the shot, and Miniboo. The stun to just get him out, and Miniboo does escape.
Yeah, it's fine, though. I mean, if you're Titan, it's 60 seconds left on the clock, and you've pushed off the A hit. So not bad in terms of being able to do that with just Sheriffs and a Bucky. But this quick rotation back to market will be uncovered. The knife will stall out Titan a little bit, and okay, Annihilation pulls them back. That's going to be a free kill and a free weapon on top of that. So now you have a numbers advantage. How do you utilize those numbers to try to break down what'll be a difficult post plant? And Lucas hits another shot backside of the site. There's no exit for Miniboo, and now Titan have weapon upgrades.
Now a Nightfall, but Heretics trying to play together, play for trades, and Rians won't have the space to play the Hunter's Fury. It's just the shots that gotta count, and it's Tech that have numbers and Plot on their side.
T-Virus on a pogo stick says, hey, everyone, look at me. But it starts with the Annihilation behind the play, chasing shadows through market. And it connects onto the last player for Heretics in the convoy. No chance to turn around and deal with it because of the close corner that is able to capture it on. It's a weapon upgrade. You get a little bit of team shots going on the backside of the defensive screens towards B. And then, yeah, T-Virus just does Neon things. Off the top rope. Look at me while my teammates clean you up. Huge round for Titan.
What an Annihilation, too. That grabs just like the tail end of that KO. That was funny. Thought he just had barely escaped there. To go forward. Heretics with mid-exploration. Oh, just Miniboo has been fast. He's been loose and aggressive, but put down like a dog by Coco. And Tech hold their side of the map. And it's Heretics with the Hunter's Fury. That'll still get Tech dancing. And Boo wins market. And of course, coming through main is that Vice. So Heretics have the site.
Gloves are off here, Jen. This is just a scrap battle. Both teams just throwing their weight around the rink as Coco's able to capitalize onto Riyadh's isolated mid-map, but trying to get back into this post-plant 2v3. No easy task. If you had a Rolling Thunder, maybe there's a chance to break down the post-plant at B, but it looks like they're just going to give this one away and maybe play for an exit. I don't know if they have the time to really even commit to even finding more than just Boo on site. Well, we're going to see. There's the reveal plus the fault line. Boo jumping, avoiding the pre-fire, has a bit of help, and oof, that doesn't feel good. Coco's going to get one consolation kill before exiting, and Heretics respond and get us tied at 3.
Just took too much time for Tech to develop, get to that side of the map. Coco, I kind of put a lot of pressure on him to just be contributing to the team in the same way, and he has stepped up huge on the Sunset, having a way better performance, and it's a lot on the initiators to make sure T-Virus and his job is going to be easier, especially against the Sentinels and everything, against one of Europe's best.
This early timeout, I think if you're looking at this from Titan, is I think, can we slow the game down a little bit? As much as you can set up trap plays of your own with the composition you bring to the table, things are getting a little squirrely. And if I think you were to ask them what their choice was, of would you like to play a slower game where it really gets figured in the last 30 to 45 seconds of a round, I think they would probably prefer that than having a round come to an end in the first 45 seconds. But we'll see how they try to unfold things from here. It's just, you know, again, the trap play setup is really just resorting to Coco and what T-Virus want to do. And so far, it's just been this really weird battle across multiple points of the map. Like, it's happened at B, it's happened at A, it's happened over towards B main. But I think if you were to ask Titan what that timeout was about, it's about trying to slow this game down a touch.
Especially when Mini Boo is just running around wherever he wants, and Tech have had good shutdowns against him, and to be steady against such a scary duelist, but Heretics cooking something up to flash in, have Mini Boo make a lot of noise over on the B side, already getting the berry and pulling 4 on the rotate.
That's big value. And again, it is a save round here inside the solo rifle for Coco with the Hunter's Fury. You also have the overdrive available for Luke, but Lucas, yeah, is going to get isolated here on an island, so this round should be pretty comfortable unless you find some sort of a hero headshot for Titan, and then maybe you talk about things like that Rolling Thunder coming into play, but Boo going to take the high ground on this post plant, and you also got all of that Vice setup at the choke at mid, so this just doesn't feel good if you're Titan. Here's your try. No, I don't like that.
And Coco ideally just pretends he doesn't see anything. Backs away slowly towards the other side of the map to keep that rifle. Yeah, that's awfully nice.
I just, that's a weird call right there for me. T-Virus just on sprint tries to pull the overdrive before they even get a tally on what's on site, and they had tools that could have at least blocked a couple of line of sights or at least flashed an angle early. With Coco holding onto a flash point, it just felt a little disjointed there, because I think ideally, if you can, you know, again, create some space on the front side of the site to get into it and try to contest the post plant, then you have the chance if the overdrive gets into play to try to combine that with the Rolling Thunder, but not the case, and comes out empty for Titan.
Oh, both
I don't know
timeouts?
if that's real. I don't know if that's real.
Okay, okay. We'll see. I was going to say, damn, we're really just calling 911 here, but I mean, first time out at least, Tech just couldn't find the solution. They really got baited, but it wasn't the best buy, of course. So now we can really take them seriously and what they could cook up against the Rolling Thunder and use that to retake, because it's been really difficult to get back into B once you give it up to Heretics.
Yeah, it's really difficult for both sides at the moment. I mean, again, there's a level of Titan have allowed these quick action first blood engagements to happen up until now. So there's a level of it becomes difficult to retake if you're playing 4v5 or 3v4, whatever it happens to be, where you're down a man and you're trying to retake with largely what is just either the fade or the breach based on where they've been positioned off the barriers. Mostly looking at Lucas, who's dropped as first death a couple of different times, it feels like. But different approach here for Heretics, looking to kind of extend through mid. Haunt comes out just to make sure that stays safe. Rolling Thunder here, Paranoia with that. Fault line Well, I was going to say is also spent as a part of that, but there's no real follow-up engagement. Another head-scratcher in terms of Titan's commitment on that.
There's some kind of suppression that didn't allow Tech to confidently swing and get eyes on mid. So, yeah, really big waste from Coco when I thought you would have just had that as a last resort for a retake once Heretics eventually get in. That's the one tap. Wow.
Yeah.
Powdong deleted.
Yeah, the sensor doing what it does best, but now the Razor Vine, or the Steel Garden rather, is out. Abo's going to be off of his rifle, trying to stay alive as long as possible, but a quick hit through mid. Luke on the quick pinch through market. Has created something, but yeah, there you go. You scale deep here. That Steel Garden still in play. Rien's, Woot, getting the job done. All down to Lucas, who, well, may have to just get out of here, but Heretics have the crossfire setup, get the final kill, and now go up 5-3 with some financial choices to happen in this next round for Titan.
Abo was also kind of hidden behind that pillar, and I thought could have reacted to Rian's there. Not that that would have just made the whole difference, but man, Heretics are frying right now.
Yeah,
just the one tap, that was really nice. You got a Rolling Thunder out of the picture. That's a huge silver lining for...
I still don't get that.
You will have shift displeased.
Quite.
Quite.
I mean, like, I understand that there's a way that like you can follow up off of that, but I just, okay, hold on a second. You've got a quick play, trap play here for T-Virus Luke. That works out nicely with the grab net over the top of B. And that's a little bit more like it in terms of kind of establishing an early first contact on your terms.
Now imagine if that had a Rolling Thunder first, but
well,
I still think something spat back at Tech when that Rolling Thunder happened. Didn't get good vision on that, but we haven't seen T-Virus really activate like that. It's very mini-boo-esque.
No, yeah, you're right. We haven't. And that includes, you know, again, reflecting on yesterday, we didn't see that level of proactivity even when they were on the offensive side, so it's a little bit refreshing to see that come through. But you have a wide open ace right now. From the shadows will reinforce the play. And, of course, Mini-Boo can just hit the high gear and sprint over if they so choose. So, again, everything's setting up for Team Heretics' advantage in this 4v5 post plan.
Looks like they're still going to try and get some work done with Abo having that hero Vandal. 2 at the front. Boo, no paranoia. But Rian's with drone and shocks. But with the one way, they'll play off of that until they don't need to. Fall back into elbow.
Not ready yet.
It's Mini-Boo lurking around. He'll come up from behind Tech here any second, and a clean round, clean VALORANT out of Heretics.
Yep. And now we need to see Titan off of that prior timeout give us something to work with, because again, like outside of the one Annihilation catch that we had from a couple of rounds ago, this defense has not looked good. Pistol and an anti-eco, and then Annihilation that saved a round. That's been it. That's not good enough. Especially considering that we know that their offensive side struggled against RRQ.
Been better showing all around. A close series. Marathon, but in the eyes of Mini-Boo, it's also a sprint. The fastest Neon in the West.
We're in the East.
True.
Depending on how your perspective.
The Middle East, I guess.
Yes.
Heretics doubling the score from Tech. We're so hilarious.
We're dumb.
We are. Trying to sound smart right now, though, but Coco still has fault line, but not as many trap plays as I expected out of Tech.
I mean, like, the problem with it is, like, you're, in a certain way, like, you are kind of mirror matched in the ability to trap play on the other side because of things like paranoia, push-ups with smokes or flashes, or whatever it happens to be for Heretics. You just, that was kind of like the first 5 rounds was a lot of that, of like both teams trying to establish that, hey, we're the ones playing aggressive, you have to play more reactive. And for Tech, oh, this is one of those moments that better collapse.
Oh.
And it does. And it does. And it does.
Spike down A.
That's Lucas to you.
Go, go, go.
I didn't think he had it in him. He's lazy. He's a laser today. And the ace opportunity, and he does it.
Big.
I did all the work.
Now you've got the Nightfall back into play. That gives you the opportunity to get this thing to, hopefully, if you're a Tech fan, a 6-6 count. Problem is, Heretics have built up their coffers so much that they can afford for pretty much eternity, at least on this half. They're going to be fine for the next 2 rounds. They also have a couple of the key ultimates that are going to be coming up in the following 2 rounds, maybe even in this next one. But Lucas's ace here gets him right back onto a Nightfall. Gives you the opportunity to play more reactionary if you want to. Use that as a chance to kind of break down the post plant.
Out of your seat. And he's just 18. Imagine the career ahead of him. Generational talent. Now the Nightfall from Tech to early suppress. A elbow, some safety from Heretics. Can't hear, but you can see the dub if you're Heretics, and it's the Hunter's Fury. Causes some obstacles from Tech, but a null command added into the mix. A lot invested from Heretics, given now the sight, but T-Virus looms around the corner, and his rifle is shown, and his death is exposed, and Heretics another clean, and this time flawless round.
Flawless with an asterisk because you had to like reboot Woot.
Last round in
Okay, if you want to get technical with it,
You know,
okay.
another though, like, look, color commentary is not my main role, but if you were to have told me that we're going to throw a Nightfall in with only one other member defensively nearby to try to stop Heretics with a null command, I would say that's not worth. Like, instead of waiting for your Neon to get back into the picture, have a chance to use that as a way for them to track down kills while they're, you know, again, nerfed from audio. It just feels like, again, the execution on Tech is a little bit scattery. It's a little bit panicky.
Yeah.
Of, well, what's happening? We got this is trouble. Got to throw the ult. It's just not working out. So now you've got a little bit of a limited buy here for Luke, as Titan have an Annihilation to play with and maybe an Overdrive if Luke can find a couple of kills.
Yeah, very panicky. That's the key word. I thought even from the Rolling Thunder to the Nightfall, you would have just really liked those for the retake and just go for the
Or like a contest on the
second.
spike plant, like not on like as the execute's starting, especially with the Rolling Thunder at mid and the Nightfall through elbow. It just, you know, those are huge stall ultimates at, you know, worst if you're trying to use them before a spike plant comes through, and it's just neither were used in such fashion.
Now Mini Boo is lurking. Abo just ace potential as he nets and does not want to go fishing. Delay, the stoppage created from the barrier to the net. It's going to get Lucas running and getting his steps in to go and help. Still Mini Boo causing a ruckus, trying to get everyone's attention in mid.
30 seconds left.
Oof. Annihilation countered by the knife. No, doesn't actually.
Oh, the angle.
They should be able to clear that though. The cocoon does come back in. Yep, good pinch for Riyadh. Picture perfect. Again, it just feels desperate for Titan. That one is kind of a forced issue because you're stuck on site, but you do have a long play from Luke. It's the problem is he's got a stinger.
I didn't like Abo just still being in the middle of the site, and I still wish he played back safer. That's just my style over what Abo likes, so.
Go, go, go.
Could be a weapon collection here. Instead, how about you run forward? That will work. Woot able to try out one though. Aftershock clearing the space. A chance here for Luke to try to flood through the fast lane, but Heretics come up big with a couple of collected headshots and an 8-4 half as Heretics primed and ready to try to get into tomorrow.
Tech are trying to find the right tempo and the right timing. Catch Heretics by surprise, whether it's these early ults that haven't had the impact they were hoping for, just Heretics counter positioning, just being in safe. I mean, not even counter positioning, just staying kind of where they are, which was either a elbow, sitting in mid, throwing back at Tech, so they can't capitalize off the Rolling Thunder that happened in mid. So some minor misses from Tech. Now behind by 4 rounds. It'll be Tech going on offense this time.
Another pistol that you look at and say they kind of have to have it. But the issue, again, just to reiterate, as I know we're all kind of locking in right now, Titan Esports Club, when they played RRQ yesterday, really lacked on the offensive side, and in particular, the efficiency of T-Virus was mitigated. 2 and 5 in the first blood duels. And a lot of it came in, like, again, very jittery fashion, where we weren't committing, like, of fast lane, fault line, flash, deep smokes, let T-Virus go in, get his 1-for-1. It just was like, we're kind of like halfway going. And often T-Virus is getting caught as like not committing in or committing back as like that's just a fake. It's just a show of force. So that's what needs to be better today after going back and rewatching over the things that were not working for them versus RRQ. Again, they only won a couple of offensive rounds, 4 in total. It's just not enough. You figure where the current meta is with Neons.
One enemy remaining.
Love that ace out of Lucas. But that was a momentary win out of a sea of round wins from Heretics. But I'm hearing the energy behind me. Tech hope to come back, and it all starts with this pistol, and that was their way to keep Haven close and into OT after a pretty big deficit, what, a 3-9 deficit to Heretics on that map.
Right here.
Miniboo pairs up with Woot. Kind of flash and dash, and you don't even need the util, just cleaner shots from the Heretics cutting the Tech push in mid.
Same kind of story that we saw in the first couple of rounds from the first half where Titan are saying, yeah, we'll duel you at mid. Pardon the tongue twister. And Heretics look fine. You know, a little bit easier to try to mitigate and, you know, manage those battles when you're on the defensive side because you can just choose to back off if you want to. But Sheriff at that range against a Classic, you're like all day, every day of the week, and twice on Sunday. And this is
Spike down.
gonna fall apart pretty quickly. Spike is down. Yeah, Miniboo, little shotgun the way in. Breaking ankles, breaking cameras, and it's on to Lucas. 1v4 with a Ghost, no Spike to play with.
Heretics just get more confident, they get louder, despite the time, but also the pace that they play at. And you're like, yeah, Jen, they're playing Neon, but I'm not seeing that same style out of T-Virus, and speaks to just the level of experience that Heretics have on this map.
It's early. Like, it's the pistol round of the offensive front. Like, we're not going to know if Titan are making modifications or adjustments to yesterday until we get into their gun round. So there's a level of, I think if you are Titan, I get it. Like, you're trying to put some battle around the map and try to force Heretics to consider multiple things to make that execute a little bit nicer. But until we get into a rifle round, it's just like you gotta survive to it. It's just not enough.
Not enough. Tech lose one early and doesn't bode well. Okay, nice clip from Miniboo. Keeps A on lock with a paranoia that could assist depending on the numbers that they expect to face, and a lurk from Lucas checking out mid, but it's Heretics getting to double digits, ever so closer to trying to get out of their group. This is elimination, so they'd still have to play another match, but sort of exposes the cracks in the armor of Heretics, who were, I think, a big favorite, obviously, to get out of their groups.
Oh,
but
for sure, yeah.
How are they going to look in top 8 when a team like this exposes them like this?
The other side of this, and you know, part of the question and conversation that Titan are going to have is not just about improving from yesterday, but how do they want to play into a Vice, which is something they did not face yesterday either. And again, like you look at what is a very standard approach towards playing things like Neon, Breach, Fade, but you need to also know where the shear is. You need to have an idea of where those Razor Vines could be, because that is a way of obviously stalling out the Neon from scaling deep into sight. So it's a lot of figuring out to do and not a lot of time to do it. So 10-4, pistol in the follow-up, pretty much perfect from Heretics. And a must-win round here for Titan, otherwise they're in force buy mode.
Well, it's crunch time. And Heretics, they only scale up from here, and when the pressure is on to try and match their speed, very hard to execute. And we've seen obviously the Neon from T-Virus before, but I've liked his Jet a lot more when he can cover himself and be more selfish in that regard and kind of be more solo. But Neon going up against what looks like a Miniboo signature, it's been tough for T-Virus to keep up with. And this is a must-win, which is where the economy is at, as you mentioned, and kind of playing things as slow as you can.
Yeah, just covering your bases here, Prowler, just to make sure you can walk in to B main. Arc Rose right on top of the site. Razorvine, you see it planted in the corner. Haunt, smoke, comes through. This would be where you would look for something like, yeah, is the shear here? And that'll be enough for Titan to grab the orb and just get out and reset.
Yeah, building up for the long game. It's just going to be a long-term project for Tech. And it's Heretics that were able to take that overtime in stride and kind of accept what happened and just get back to the peak form and a scoreline that I honestly thought we were going to see on the previous map, considering the previous stats. But now Tech, this is do or die, and it is T-Virus that just dies. Blue holds the corner, and T-Virus just can't lock in when he's just that fast.
Where's the flash? Like, Coco hadn't even set up his flash yet for that poke. It just, they out-trade it, thankfully. But again, it's like Coco's got both flashes available, and we're trying to shell a tight corner without giving ourselves a bit of separation. Chance to scale a little bit deeper here for Lucas. This would be huge if he can find the pick onto Riyadh. Sees the dart, easy follow-up, plus a follow on that to Woot. Now it just comes down to finding Benji Fishy. And that might be easier said than done, 1v1.
Oh, Coco has to lock in and end it better than it started, and he does a better swing for Benji. Could notice, and it's Tech still in it, and it's that must-win rifle round that we talked about, but still need to repurchase a lot of it.
Yep, that's the key. That was a potent bonus out of Team Heretics. They'll be fine to at least get a couple and most of their rifles online, but light armors aren't going to feel good, especially with Abo having to play off of a Guardian. And honestly, it's just one of those situations, again, where it's just like if you're Titan, how do you want to try to make sure that like Heretics are tested and stretch and not just getting away with murder on the outsides of the map? And you can see, again, Heretics just walk up past this one way. Are there any toes showing? No, not quite. Abo stays safe. He does have a sensor in the way to keep that flank relatively safe. Good reveal off the knife in towards B main, where the Vice Wall is here this round. It was not here last time around, so we'll see if T-Virus continues to use a smoke to try to see if he can clear that front passageway.
See if this Vice can withstand Tekken. Okay. T-Virus is just not getting any luck and any headway, and Tech will have to do it without a Duelist this time, and they'll have the Nightfall if they really think they're facing a challenge, but they already have Haodong inserted. The wall comes up and there's isolations, and Tech trying to get a peek over, but all they see is death. This sniper is a hunter. Rian's the one who saved Haven. Saves the site here for Heretics.
Last player standing.
A pick there could have maybe led to an annihilation and maybe a lifeline in the round. Paranoia comes up a bit short. Coco, good for 2, but nothing more. A difficult 1v4 situation. And another moment that, again, I know it's not at full value there for Titan, but the Vice Wall doesn't fully get scouted out. You commit through it, and you see what happens afterwards. You lose your controllers out of the play. And it just allows a free line of sight for the sniper rifle to connect. And, again, just utilize the numbers that Heretics have defensively after that split-off happens. So Heretics doing everything you could possibly want in terms of trying to get the advantages to close the map out, whereas Titan continued to struggle on their executes.
Yeah, it's just such a difficult comp to execute in terms of timings and how perfect you have to be, and just the level of perfection that Heretics is demanding you to play at. And sure, they've shown signs of weaknesses in this series, or maybe at EWC, whatever you want to say. But it's also just how you end it in the end, and Heretics are on their way to ending Tech out of this group.
Yeah, backs against the wall for sure from here on out. Just with the amount of tools that are going to be coming online in terms of ultimates for Heretics. But yeah, that's just, again, you lose out on a couple of the key members by being separated by that Vice Wall. It's not doing the job the way it's meant to be done. So here we go. 4-spy area. Stingers, 1 Phantom. Rolling Thunder, Nightfall, Annihilation. Key ultimates available here for Titan. Overdrive, Steel Garden, the only things that could potentially be earned here with the Hunter's Fury also kind of won away if you're Heretics. So we'll see. How does Tech want to try to get the advantage with those ults? And here we go. They're going to try to go right on into it. Razorvine blocking the way for now at Market. Good double peek coming through, and just Heretics are cleaning up.
Wow, really good cohesion from Team Heretics to just surround mid. Absolutely wipe the floor with Tech. At least some stragglers went through B main, and we'll get a plant going, but at what cost? You're looking at match point very soon for Heretics, and after forcing OT, you hate to see Tech go out that way, but it's a Heretics that just keep punching higher and higher, that have reached that ceiling and can climb even higher, and Mini Boo's even bringing out the ult to clean up the round.
Yep, this one is out of reach right now, it feels like, for Titan based on what we've seen. Again, 3 of the 5 rounds are pistol and anti-eco, and then an annihilation catch.
Match point. They look tough.
It's just not been enough. So after that first forced purchase in the last round, the money's not going to be great here either. Nightfall's all that's really available. Hunter's Fury on the other side ready to go. And there does not have, there's not a single moment that Titan have made Heretics even remotely sweat on this half.
I'll show them.
I don't even know if Heretics are about to use a timeout yet. I mean,
I don't think they have, no.
So whatever Tech hook up, a miracle. Heretics will have a game plan and a response as they do. 2-1-2 setup on the defense for Heretics. And I think Tech should rethink how mid went, or how they want to do mid after what happened last round, as much as you want to forget it. Running system, Nightfall through the left, and a reaction from Tech through, or Heretics through top mid.
Yep.
But it's a good exchange. Woot gets 2. And Tech live on with especially Sheriffs and a Stinger. Did what they can to shoot back against Heretics.
Gotta get a weapon here. Well, it's going to be a rotate back over for Planet A, but another moment where the Nightfall is used to hit at Market. You don't have anything blocking the line of sight at mid, and Heretics are like, all right, you want a Nightfall Market, we'll just run that guy away and double peek you at mid. Barrier mesh destroyed, so it's going to be a 3v2. Sheriff and a Stinger, last hopes for Titan.
And it's Tech. They really depend on Coco anchoring this, and Haodong, who is smoked off, and he's gonna swing out. There's Suri in front, and Coco has to work with them for trades, and Haodong muscles two with Coco as well. And at 20 HP, Tech still remain here.
Long road in front of them, though. At least they can full purchase, so you can, again, try to dig into the playbook again. But so far, the executions have been not as convincing as you'd like to see to try to build the patterns of how do Titan get another, 6 rounds in a row to get to an OT. Hunter's Fury and Null Command at the ready as well, just to make matters a bit worse, plus a couple of light armors are all that can be purchased for Titan's offense. Knife reveals a couple. Dark Cover comes out for the one-way, and once again, Heretics kind of freely win that A-long position. And that will allow Woot to rotate over, where the Null Command can find tremendous amounts of value if there's another hit towards Market. The Vice Wall keeps you focused purely on Market, and do we have a flash behind us? There's the Razorvine. Is there a double swing here? Sure is. And again, where's the follow-up for the support with the flash? It's just not there.
Tech keep trying this mid approach, and it's been really hairy. They're just hoping have a better reaction, because you don't have a Cypher. You don't have as much of a flank watch, or at least you really have to dedicate a whole person to it, and Lucas finds that out the hard way when Miniboo scaled up through a main. Now a wrap through the backside, and look, Heretics are in position to clap back against this, and it's Coco against 4, and Europe simply too strong, and Heretics remain in the group, and we say goodbye to the Titans.
Tight throughout maybe some of the moments that you would expect Heretics to be dominant, especially look back to map number 2, but you know, I think the thing about that map is there's a lot of individual moments that I think you look at for Titan Esports and say they bailed them out a handful of times. But for Heretics to shrug off of a 9-map losing